Good afternoon and welcome to Miramar College. Thank you for your hospitality. We look forward to today. This is the March 14th, 2024 meeting of the San Diego Community College District Board of Trustees is hereby called to order. Good afternoon, everybody. The meeting is being conducted in a hybrid format with board members and most meeting presenters participating in person. Others participating may participate remotely via Zoom. We also welcome any members of the district community and members of the public to our meeting and others who are viewing it live via YouTube. The board is open to public comment. If anyone is interested in doing so, this is our procedure. To address the board, please fill out a comment card available in the back of the room or from the board secretary. If anyone participating remotely would like to make a comment, please email boardoffice@sdccd.edu for further direction. We will begin the meeting with item 304, our land acknowledgement. At the December 14th board meeting, our board adopted a district-wide land acknowledgement to publicly recognize that the land that we occupy is the unceded territory and ancestral homeland of the Kumeyaay people. Miramar College student trustee Sejal Gotra will now read the district's land acknowledgement. Sejal.
Thank you, Board President. The San Diego Community College District and its 4 colleges acknowledge the land we occupy is the unceded territory and ancestral homeland of the Kumeyaay people, where they have lived for over 10,000 years. We honor and value the stewardship, knowledge, and cultural worldview of the Kumeyaay people and their commitment to the protection and preservation of the land and their culture. As institutions of higher education, we are responsible for providing our Indigenous community members with access, belonging, and success in their educational pursuits within an environment which celebrates their culture. We are responsible for educating all community members about Indigenous histories and cultures. We are responsible for examining and taking action to address the injustices of colonization and occupation which have perpetuated harm against Indigenous, Black, Brown, and other communities. Through this acknowledgement, we honor the Kumeyaay people and express our commitment to truth and respect as the foundation of our relationship. Thank you.
Thank you. And now our student trustee will lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
Thank you, Board President. Please stand. Ready? Begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you.
Item 306 is readouts from closed session, and there are no readouts. Item 307 is the Miramar College campus meeting, and I refer that to our chancellor.
Very excited to be here at Miramar College tonight. Believe for Vice President Odu, I'm obligated to say I can feel the Miramar love. Looking forward to the campus presentation. Dr. Lumber, we'd like to turn it over to you and see the great work you put together.
Great. Thank you, Board of Trustees, Chancellor Smith. It is a pleasure to have you here. We're very excited. We have a great program planned for you, and we hope that you will come away having a pretty good feel for what we're doing here at Miramar, which our focus may be a little bit different than higher education institutions typically have, because we're focusing on the relational aspect of what we do and on cultivating a campus culture of a campus of care. I want to highlight to you the t-shirts that we're all wearing. And on the back, it says that, and underneath the catchphrase, I realize I was turned away from the mic. The catchphrase is making the invisible visible. This is a deeply meaningful phrase for us. We adopted that as our theme about a year ago. And just this last Tuesday, the College Council voted to adopt that for next year's theme as well, because we want to make sure that we're doing deep, meaningful, intentional work. Tomorrow at our planning summit, We will be spending the day together talking about becoming a more servingness institution. And I love that word. I love it when we take a very common word and do something different with it to highlight the meaning of the word, so we don't lose that from just, stock responses to that. So you'll see, I don't know if do we have slides? Oh, she was waiting for her cue. Cool. Malia? So you'll see that the themes that, and the board has already seen this because at the board retreat, the presidents all showed what their goals for the year were. Mine are adopted from conversations we've had across the college, across the campus. And so they really do encapsulate what we're doing and just focus them a bit. So the first is cultivating culture. That means the community on campus, the sense of community around our campus, and a sense of community with our partners. You might be wondering, what does that mean? Well, on campus is probably obvious. Around campus, we want to become a campus that is a central hub for Scripps Ranch and Mira Mesa, and that the community around us knows that we're here to serve them. So again, developing that idea of servingness. In particular, we continue to work on our diversity, equity, anti-racism efforts, and those are highlighted in everything we do now. I love that we are becoming an institution that has really infused that into everything we do. We're cultivating infrastructure, so we'll be continuing with our work in reorganization. The board will see next month, I believe, proposal for instructional services for a reorganization there. We're working in foundation and philanthropy in ways that we haven't before. And we're addressing retention, support, resources needs, including staffing needs at Miramar, establishing affinity groups, establishing our Kaleidoscope Center, which will be a multicultural center, Veterans Resource Center, and our work at the MCAS Miramar Air Station, and then building and continuing with appropriate staffing for our lead office. We're cultivating programs. We will be establishing 2 new athletic teams in women's and men's swimming and men's soccer. Bachelor's degree, startup implementation. Most of you know that we have a bachelor's degree now in public safety management. So all of these are efforts to cultivate programs that will serve the needs of our community and our students. We're cultivating enrollment, build changing lives model, addressing the SCIF allocation categories, and then building pathways from CE or CCE, College of Continuing Ed. We have the president, Dr. King, here, and I want to just pause, interrupt myself for a moment there, and also call out that we have Dr. Shabazz from City College here. Thank you, colleagues, for being here. I don't think Dr. Hands was able to make it. Are you here, Ashanti? No, she's at a conference. Yep. So looking forward to that, and cultivating part-time student support and focus. A lot of folks don't realize that our student population, the head count is way higher than our FTES, simply because so many of our students, upwards of 60%, are part-time students. So the needs are there. I want to just kind of capture, before I turn it over to our program here, well, to my colleagues, our presidents from the student government, academic senate, and classified Senate, that I think there's 2 quotes from popular culture that I think capture what we're trying to do. One is from Rob Thomas, who is a lead singer and principal songwriter for the group Matchbox 20, if you don't know it. This comes from a song that was used for the movie Meet the Robinsons, which is a kids movie, but kids movies oftentimes have the most powerful messages. And I, just by being a dad, am an expert in children's movies. But it goes like this: let your clarity define you. In the end, we will only just remember how it feels. That is a critical piece. When I referred to the relational piece that we're focused on now, that captures that. We need to recognize that, yes, we can provide an education and an important experience for our students, but we need to focus too on how they feel when they're here. We need to do the same thing with our employees as well. It's important that people feel good about being here and feel good about being part of this work together, because in the end, we will only just remember how it feels. The other one is from an Instagram meme that I saw, and I'm sorry, I don't remember who posted it or who originally said it, but perhaps you've seen it as well. And it goes like this. I don't believe what you say because I see what you do. Let me repeat that. I don't believe what you say because I see what you do. That's powerful. And I'm sure many of us can think of individuals, organizations that live down to that standard. Am I right? So if you take that and turn it around and make it a positive statement, we want our students, we want our employees to all believe what we say because they see what we do. The emphasis here is on action. The emphasis here is on what we do as leaving the lasting impression. So if we talk about how leaving an impression on how people feel, we need to make sure we tend to what we do. With that, cultivating a campus of care, making the invisible visible, I'm going to turn it over first, I believe, to Sejal Gotra.
Thank you, President West. I wish to welcome the Board of Trustees and Chancellor Smith back to Miramar College. Thank you for spending your evening with us, although I am sitting with you guys. I'm excited to share recent developments regarding our college as a student leader with a special focus on our annual theme, making the invisible visible. Not many may know, but I started out as a dual enrollment student in Mira Mesa High School, taking Miramar classes throughout my final 2 years, in which I also developed a rare, under-researched autoimmune disorder. My ability to walk graduation, attend a four-year university, and the state of my health were up in the air at the time, and I developed generalized anxiety as a result. That still affects me today. During my first year of community college as a full-time student, I took online classes and 2 classes at the military base over here at Miramar in an effort to be removed. While our theme often talks about bringing equity to underserved populations who have lacked a voice, I also wish to acknowledge that anxiety and mental health struggles are one form of perpetuated invisibility in students. As I tried to gain the strength to overcome my anxiety and figure out how to return to the functioning world, I found opportunities through my online professor at Miramar and former Mesa trustee Phoebe to partake in ASG at Miramar College. I wouldn't have known about this program otherwise, and now that I have become president, I'm feeling more confident and experienced in what I wish to do moving forward. All this is to say that there needs to be a medium to emerge visibly from feeling invisible by partaking in a larger community, perhaps. And that is necessary to successfully share to students. In College Council, I mentioned to our members who work tirelessly to support initiatives for students that there is a great chance, like many events or workshops that happen at Miramar College, that it will not reach a great number of students. Students need a chance to connect, however. We know that community college students are often juggling other responsibilities and come and leave the campus quickly, so communication is incredibly important. As such, in trying to accumulate our efforts in an intentional manner, internal communication, teamwork, and framework is being explored to reach out to students in an efficient manner. We have an ASG podcast on the way, which will be a reoccurring short video regarding events and resources, which we hope to be shared in classes, requiring partnership with our educators on campus. In College Council, we also decided to create a coordinated and intentional professional development work group that AS President Pablo has been putting much work towards. ASG members, including myself, have been present to ensure that communications for students are being worked on together. Oftentimes, faculty will have many plans and events for their students, and this is a better way to organize events for greater student and staff engagement. Lastly, I want to touch on an important topic. I went to an accreditation interview earlier this month and shared that a disproportionate allocation of resource shows in the quality of student resources, events, and programs on campus. I've heard students since high school, as we all went to Miramar as dual enrollment students, that they will leave or not give Miramar a chance, although in great proximity to them, for the better student programs, centers, and events at the sister colleges. The ask is that we should be on more of a leveled playing field with these schools, and I wish to touch on this in a careful manner. Students feel that those colleges offer more grandiose versions of the programs and events we have. As faculty tries hard with the resources that they have here, this issue directly speaks to a greater need for investment into Miramar College and our student affairs as our enrollment continues to grow. While I may be summarizing the issue and leaving out various factors and technicalities as I speak, when an inside issue becomes an outside visible problem to students, where they can see and feel that the investment towards Miramar is lacking, I believe it becomes a problem to explore as we work towards increasing persistence and retention in our student population. As Miramar College has been, we continue to work on making students and their presence feel visible and valued from the invisible. Thank you. Hi, I'm Malia. I'm the current classified Senate president. And I don't know how I'm supposed to follow that up. And the truth is, I've been thinking about what I wanted to say for a couple of days now, but of course, the day of an event like this, I'm running around like a chicken with my head cut off. And the only thing I can really think is that I'm tired. Yeah, and I've probably heard that from everyone I've spoken to this week. And I know spring break is just around the corner and, I'm counting down the days. I don't know about you, but, and I hope that we all take that time to rest and rejuvenate and, really hone in on ourselves. Because I think we wake up every day and we care, right? We care about what we do. We care about our students, and it can be quite tiring. It takes a lot out of you to care so much about what you do, to do so much with so little. And so I'm looking forward to a week of sitting by after I move this weekend, which is a whole nother thing, but sitting by my new pool and just taking time to rest and relax. And I hope that you all do the same, because I know that you're out there working hard, supporting our students, supporting each other, and you have to take some time for yourself. And I think that is part of cultivating a campus of care and making sure you take care of yourself so that you can take care of those around you. So that was just off the cuff. So that was pretty good, I think. I'm going to turn it over to my colleague and the Academic Senate President, Pablo. You're welcome.
Miramar, where we like to keep it real. Not always, but definitely the last several years, we're making that move. I'm really happy to see it. So welcome to Miramar. Welcome back. It's nice to see all you here. Wonderful board, Chancellor, wonderful hair up here. Mary Graham, fantastic. Also keeping it real. I have a few things to say during my report a little bit later, so I'll keep this very brief. So I think we've already gone over, and I love to talk. But I also love a schedule and keep it on track. So I'm going to try to respect your time. And just, I'm really proud to be here. I'm really proud of my faculty colleagues. I'm really proud of my classified Senate colleagues. I'm really proud of the students I work with, and I'm proud of the administration I work with. This place is amazing. A lot of hardworking people put a lot of blood, sweat, and tears in this place. And, just so you know, I see it. I think we're there for each other. And it seems like we're turning that corner, and I think we're really becoming that place that we want to be. And I think it's partly because of this theme, right? Cultivating that campus of care, where we see people and not as transactions, things on a way to some place that we can use, and that we really look to see people for who they are and where they've been. And I think we're doing a great job with that. So with that, look forward to enjoying an hour with you or less as we celebrate Miramar. Thanks for coming. And next up, I'd like to welcome Steve Quiz.
Looking sharp. Pablo, stand there real quick. Anybody watch Ted Lasso? Yeah. Okay. Is that not Trent Krim, the Independent, right there? Because you got that on there? Thank you, Trent, for coming. Appreciate that. One more movie reference. Stand up, Brett. We're all wearing these shirts. I saw him today. Take your jacket off. This is a cast member from the movie Grease, 1977. I got chills, and they're multiplying, Brett. You're welcome. Thank you for playing along. Anyway, my name's Steve Quist, Public Information Director, Court Jester here, I guess, at Miramar College. Thank you so much for joining us. Before we start the presentation, I want to invite everyone on the board and sitting here. We have some reserved seats for you right there so that you can see the presentation. So if you would not mind, come on up. You get a free Miramar Love paddle. And if that's unsweetened iced tea, Greg, I love that. You may not get that back. It is. Okay, at the bottom. Okay, before we start, I do want to welcome up Emerald Arbizo here for our college land acknowledgement. You heard the district one. We'll do the college one, and welcome up Emerald.
Dwi tayo ya hunak takame enshi manavu inepo yome. Good day. May Creator bless all of you guys. And I'm Yoeme. That being said, sorry, I'm nervous. First time. We would like to acknowledge that San Diego Miramar Community College sits on the ancestral homeland of the Kumeyaay people who have lived here for well over 10,000 years. And we honor their past, present, and future connections to this land and its inherent connections to their identity. We recognize our occupation of unceded Kumeyaay territory and the violent systemic injustices this continuously perpetuates for Native peoples of this region. We want to honor their continuing presence in their homeland and their spiritual belief that the land does not belong to people, people belong to the land. We also would like to acknowledge that this is just the very beginning. We're much more than performance here at Miramar, as I'm very honored and happy and proud to accolade this institution for continuing to have the Kumeyaay flag flying high. And I hope that we can get the a new flagpole erected so that we can continue to honor the original inhabitants of this land. Thank you.
Oh, sorry. No worries. They could make up time. All right. I know she's so excited to get here. We were just awarded a Native American Student Support and Success Program grant, and here to talk about it is Nisa Julian, our Dean of Lead and Equity, to give you an overview on the program.
Thank you for sharing our land acknowledgement. Emerald is the president of our Native American Indigenous Student Club. And I don't know if you noticed, but she memorized our land acknowledgement. And she has been such a wonderful student leader here on campus. And, we're so thrilled that we were awarded this $1.5 million grant. And this is just one way in which we are able to cultivate the leadership of our student and cultivate a community of care that is truly intentional in supporting our Native American Indigenous students. We're at the very beginning stages of creating this program, and you'll learn a little bit more about what we have in store and what we're currently working on. But with this grant, we're not just working on what we can do here for our Miramar community, but we're working with the other colleges within the region who have also been awarded this grant. So we're looking forward to meeting with Southwestern College and Cuyamaca, who has not received the grant, but the Kumeyaay Community College is connected to their institution. And so really this is an opportunity for us as a region to be that intentional voice to support our students and work within the community to support our Native American Indigenous students. And with that, I'm going to turn it over to actually Steve to introduce Carmen.
You just wanted me to see if I could say her last name right? All right. I have been practicing. Carmen Carrasquilla.
Carrasquillo. Thank you, Steve. It's my pleasure to share with you some of the grant activities that are a part of NASP. First of all, our approach is a FUBU approach, for us, by us. And so I can say to you today, for example, Taigwe, Taigwaitiao. Good day, good people. And that is in the language of my Taino ancestors. And so one of the things that we're looking at, of course, is increasing the success of our Native American students. And we're looking at those traditional metrics, right, that we always look at, persistence, retention, and so forth, by partnering with San Diego Unified and local bands and local universities. But we're also interested in looking at what's sometimes called those non-cognitive success metrics, right? Like leadership development and leadership within a community, right? And so we're proud to share that we have established our first Elder in Residence program. So Danny Bartelli is our first elder, and she's here to help our first cohort with leadership and with the support and mentorship that really can make the difference when it comes to student success. In addition to that, we had a really exciting partnership with UCSD this year. UCSD actually paid for everything. They invited our student cohort to have lunch at the Intertribal Resource Center, and they were able to make connections with UCSD Native and Indigenous students. They were able to sit in on an Indigenous literatures class. And the focus that day happened to be an Indigenous woman writer. It was incredible. I am so proud of our students whose hands were way up in the air as they participated in the classroom discussion at a UCSD class as a part of this cohort. And so we are also, of course, looking at curricular interventions, and we have an excellent composition and literature class right now being taught from a Native American Indigenous perspective by our own professor, Bear Wolf. Congratulations, Bear, just awesome. Next slide. And our cohort right now, would you like to share some things about the cohort? Emerald, come on back. I think you should hear it best from our students. Emerald, come on back.
I think I speak on behalf of my peers here that we are very grateful for the resources that we've been provided and the opportunities as well. This has been great having the invisible become visible. Even though California actually has the highest Indigenous population, we are egregiously marginalized. So it's wonderful to see this establishment of community and local events that we're now participating in, even this coming Saturday, the Mesa Powwow and Old Town trip, possibly. That would be very fun. And outside of that, for the Native American Indigenous Student Club, I am very proud of all my students, our fellow peers, and our sense of community has been growing ever so great. And I've been rambling. Thank you.
Fun student activities. All right. Thank you, Emerald. And that was about our grant there. Thank you, Nisa. Thank you, Carmen. Appreciate that. Now we're going to hear about another wonderful program grant called the Rising Scholars. And I'd like to introduce the Rising Scholars Coordinator, one of her many titles here on campus, Laura Pachenko.
Thank you very much. So my name is Dr. Laura Pachenko, and I am the Rising Scholars Coordinator and the Professional Development Coordinator and a professor of sociology. And I'm really excited today to talk about our Rising Scholars program. So what we offer is support for formerly incarcerated and system impacted students. We recently received a grant through the State Chancellor's Office. It's called the Rising Scholars 2.0 grant, and that was given to us in spring of 2023, and it lasts through spring of 25. And it's really allowed us to establish a formal program on campus. We did have some informal support for formerly incarcerated students prior to that, but this has really allowed us to expand greatly. So some of the things that we do are assisting with admissions and financial aid applications, so helping with the onboarding process for students. We also have a dedicated counselor who helps students with ed planning, choosing classes, everything, that comes with picking what you might end up doing for your career. We also now, as of this semester, have a dedicated tutor, which has been amazing. We're partnering with the Academic Success Center to offer a series of workshops for our rising scholars. We also have some direct support for students. And so this includes mid-semester stipends and book vouchers. The Higher Up grant, which is on the agenda for approval today, is really going to be instrumental for our students. We're really, really excited about that. We also have been able to offer record clearance clinics for our students. We did the first one back in spring of 23 and have another one coming up this fall. We also try to do a number of events across campus. So having speakers come in, doing different workshops, having student panels. We also do a lot of outreach. I actually had a student tell me the other day that she actually lives close to another of our campuses, but said, that Miramar showed up to Las Colinas jail. And so that's why she ended up choosing Miramar. We also have a student group. It's called the Urban Scholars Union. And today in our meeting, we actually decided that we're going to do some tours of the four-year schools. So now I'm going to pass it over to Cody, one of our amazing rising scholars.
Hi, everybody. My name is Cody Risley. I'm a participant in the Rising Scholars Program. Thank you all for being here. Sorry, I'm a little nervous too. But a little bit about me. I grew up here in Mira Mesa. My mom went here. My aunt went here. I went to preschool here. Sorry. I've done 2 prison sentences and struggled a lot in my life with drugs. I've been using meth since I was 16 years old, started shooting up at 18, Life's been hard and but I made it that way, But I'm going to college now, but that doesn't mean things are easy all of a sudden, Thank you. You know, it's very challenging, but Rising Scholars has been a big help for me. I heard about Project Rebound in prison. My therapist told me about it actually, and it sounded really cool. They were like, basically, you could just go to college for free, up to like a master's degree. And I was like, wow, I was excited about it. I love hearing about all kinds of like free resources and everything. I get that from my mom, But you wouldn't believe how many people don't care about that kind of stuff. It's crazy, but 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 I've been excited about it ever since. And that was the moment I decided to change my life and go to school. I knew I could be better than I was doing at the moment. When I got out of prison, I reached out to Project Rebound and they referred me to the Rising Scholars Program. A lot of questions come up all the time about school. So I go to Laura and ask, and I go to Laura and she helps me out, She helps me with everything, man. I just call her up anytime, like I was having trouble getting my GED from the Department of Corrections. It took me so long to get it, but I finally got it, and it's been awesome, I have 2 kids who I haven't seen in 8 years. I don't want them to think that their dad doesn't care about them, so I want to do right so that I can see them again. And Rising Scholars has given me a chance to see them. This program is saving my life, and I figured if I could spend 5 years of my life in prison, I feel like I could spend 4 years bettering myself. I got out December 30, 2023, and I began college right away. College is helping me in my day-to-day life. Um, I'm learning to work with other students, and living a normal life isn't what I'm used to, but it's been awesome, I've been spending a lot of time at the math lab. They've been really helpful. I was riding the bus to school. I would leave at like 9:30 and get home at 10:30 at night. It was really hard, but like the math lab was like awesome. I could go there and like spend time in between classes, and it's a big help. And I was homeless there for a while, and people used to look at me like I was less than trash, but I feel a lot better about myself now. I mean, look at me. I'm looking good, right? I have a car now, and it's all thanks to Rising Scholars, but it's really a struggle trying to balance recovery, school, and work, but I'm very motivated to stay in school, and I'm glad to be a part of Rising Scholars. Thank you.
Thank you, Cody. Take a deep breath. All's good, man. Great presentation. Appreciate you opening up to us about that. It's great. Thank you to Laura and Cody for talking about the Rising Scholars Program. Oh, you got one more slide. I'm sorry. That's okay.
Thank you so much to Cody. That was amazing. And we have just the best students. So it's such a pleasure. One other aspect of our program that I wanted to talk about is the degree program that we offer at the Naval Consolidated Brig Miramar, which is a military prison. So it's at our MCAS Air Station base. And what we're offering is an AS in entrepreneurship, and the program is entirely free for the students. So we help them with all of the admissions process, with completing financial aid. We, have really been doing everything to get all of the supplies that they need, to provide the textbooks for the course. The instructors have been amazing to work with. We also have on-site counseling. So every Friday, we have a counselor come in to work one-on-one and in group settings with the students. We also, as of this semester, now have an embedded tutor, which has been really fantastic. We're trying as much as possible to replicate the services that we have on campus for our students incarcerated at the Brig. We also are really focused on professional development and making sure that people who are coming into the Brig are trained. I wanted to share a statement from one of the rising scholars at the Brig. They all wrote statements. They're fantastic. So it was very hard to pick just one. Okay, Rising Scholars has been a blessing and necessity that I didn't know I needed until it was made available to me. Being afforded the opportunity to progress in my studies has allowed me to stay focused on what is important and has given me a sense of normalcy in this very abnormal lifestyle. One of the best things about Rising Scholars is that the staff and administrators treat us like we're human beings and show us respect. It's good to know that to those on the outside, we can be viewed as scholars and are being pushed to be as successful as possible. So many of the statements talked about that, the positive connections that they have with our staff, and really the tangible benefit of being a part of the program. The final thing that I wanted to mention is that we have been really involved in discussions about promoting restorative practices on campus. We're really starting that discussion now. We have partnership with the Office for Restorative Practices at San Diego State University. We're going to have Dr. Dan Stacy do a talk as part of our Community Day event on April 5th, and then we're going to do a series of trainings. So thank you so much. We really appreciate the opportunity to talk about Rising Scholars.
Thank you again for that presentation. Okay, time now to talk about our Career Ambassador Program and student employment. I'd like to introduce our Acting Dean of Career Education, Mona Patel.
Hello, Board of Trustees, Chancellor Smith, and everyone here today. My name is Mona Patel. I'm the Acting Associate Dean of Career Education, and I have the privilege of overseeing our Career Services Department, among other tasks. And one of our programs under Career Services is our wonderful Career Ambassador Program. I am thrilled to introduce you to two of our wonderful 7 academic and career pathways, or ACP, career ambassadors, Kayla and Rohan. And today we will be asking them a set of questions so you can get a little bit of information about the day in the life of a career ambassador. So Kayla and Rohan, can you please take a moment to introduce yourselves?
Thanks, Mona. Hi, everyone. My name is Kayla Ta, and I'm currently a student at San Diego State University, and I'm in my last year. I'm studying psychology. So yay, I'm almost graduating. And my academic and career pathway focus is social and behavioral sciences and education.
Hi, my name is Rohan Bharadwaj, and I am a Miramar student, actually. I'm hoping to transfer by 2025. I'm actually studying cognitive science right now, and my ACP is science, technology, engineering, and mathematics STEM. So yeah.
Thank you. So my first question for both of you is, how does your role as a career ambassador help you make a connection to the Miramar College community at large?
So I'd like to start off with this question. So for some context, I'm a Miramar alumni and I entered and exited Miramar when everything shut down, went online. So I didn't even know what resources I had. Like, you know, when you don't know what you don't know, that's exactly how I felt. But now in my role as a career ambassador, being in person and being able to interact with students, I've been able to build connections, form friendships, and support my peers. So I've been able to build this sense of community that I didn't have before.
I actually entered Miramar at a slightly different time. I entered after everything had started opening up again. So my experience as a career ambassador was more getting to see behind the scenes is what goes on at Miramar. And really just how many things that we offer here at Miramar and how many things that we have for students. I'm actually one of the newest career ambassador. I've been here for pretty much just one semester, the spring semester so far. And even still, it's been so amazing getting to have so many opportunities, like getting to know people behind the scenes. And I've had so many friends come up to me and ask me what I do as a career ambassador. And it's been really cool telling them, like being able to direct them where to go, how to get different resources, how to get the most out of their experience as a student at Miramar. So.
Thank you. My next question for you is, which event, service, or something else do you wish everyone knew about from our career services department?
To answer that question, something I really wish that students knew is that they don't have to necessarily come to the Career Center to access our services. They can meet us at Compass Point. For example, last week, in preparation for our district-wide career job fair, we had the opportunity to host resume tent events. So that meant coming out to the Compass Point, being visible, promoting our events, letting students know, because we know that our students don't necessarily have the time because they're constantly juggling so many responsibilities. So if it's just like even a second out of their day to find out, oh, okay, there's like a job opportunity coming up, or I can have a chance to get my resume updated, whatever it is, we're meeting them where they are.
The thing that's stood out to me most about the career services program, even with just one semester of experience, was the amazing career counselors that we have. I was a very confused student coming in to Miramar, and I know a lot of my friends were too. And the major misconception that I had about career counselors was that they were just there to help you kind of like find a job after you figured everything out. Like, you know, your major, you know exactly what you're going to do. And then the career counselors were there to help you, but that's absolutely not the case. They're there to guide you like every step of the way. They're there for like any confusion that you might have from like exploring your majors, exploring career opportunities, all the way up until job offers and accepting different things. And it's been, that would be probably the thing that I've been like exploring and like advertising, I guess, most to different, all of my friends. So yeah, thank you.
And my last question for the two of you is, how has your role as a career ambassador helped you in your own life? Feel free to share any skills, resources, or knowledge you will take away from this experience.
So naturally, I'm an introvert. So being in this role as a career ambassador, I've been pushed to do things that I have never would have thought to pursue. For example, like sitting up on stage here, talking to everyone about myself. So something that I took away from this experience is that, as I mentioned before, when I was on campus or as a student here, is that I didn't have the sense of community. But what I learned is that you don't have to necessarily do things alone. Even if you don't see that community, it exists, and they are more than willing to help you. So take advantage of that.
I'm so glad you all had an opportunity to learn a little bit more about the Career Ambassador Program here at Miramar College. Kayla and Rohan, thank you so much for all of your contributions.
Going to give Malia a chance to move the chairs. All right. Thank you so much for sharing the Career Ambassador Program, Mona, and the students. Thank you so much. Now we're going to watch a quick video from our students involved in our various clubs on campus and see what community means to them.
My name is Sandra Marquez, and I work in the Student Affairs Office. I've had the pleasure of working with students for 6 years now. My favorite part about this position is helping students connect and helping them build community. A lot of students that come through our office don't have a support system, or they have a very minimal support system. So having an adult in their life that is willing to guide them and cheer them on and give them the confidence that they need, I think that's what's most impactful. The thing I love the most is the growth that I see in students and their enthusiasm to create community. Every day I get to see students make connections. They build community with one another. They help each other grow. They help each other in their academics. Through clubs, students are able to build their network.
Hello, my name is Brian Hull. I am a computer science major and I'm an officer at the Computer Science Club.
My name is Mamie Jo Majors.
My name is Aiden Factor. Hi, my name is Akili Dimitri Couture, and I am president of the Miramar Chemistry Affiliates. I am president of Site Club, and I'm involved in student government.
And I'm in the Sustainability Club.
My name is Eureka.
Hi, my name is Erica.
I am involved in the Site Club as the secretary and the student government as the secretary as well.
Hello, my name is Claudio Nevels. I'm the social media coordinator for the Black Student Union. I'm the social media coordinator for Spectrum, the LGBT club, and I'm the president of the Latinx Con Voces.
I am not currently in a club.
I have a lot on my hands.
But I would like to start a club for dreamers.
Hi everybody, my name is Neil. I am in several different clubs. I am the president of BSU and Spectrum. I am the vice president in Club News, and I am the vice president in Latinx Con Voces. I am also the secretary at SVO.
One of the greatest things about belonging to a club,
the people, they're very interesting.
I get to socialize with others and learn how to
communicate with all sorts of people.
Greatest benefit is realizing my own potential as a leader.
I get to meet with the professionals in my club.
Also, you get to know a lot of people, and these will look very, very good in your resume.
Being in ASG has changed the way that I view leadership because I've never been involved in leadership as an introvert, and I feel like it's given me a new perspective on myself.
The point of community college is helping each other at the end of the day.
Community means supporting one another.
Community means a family you find.
Community to me means a second family.
And being there for one another.
Community means to me is it's a place you can go, feel loved and welcome.
A second home, a safe place.
Community coming together as one.
I know that in Miramar College there is a place for me.
It's also about that just natural friendship and bonding that we have with each other.
Coming together, not just by myself, but with different entities and bodies of students coming together and sharing our creativity with one another. That's my favorite part.
My major is psychology.
My major here is oral communications.
To become a paralegal and hopefully become an attorney one day.
I am a psychology major for transfer.
As a psych major, there's not too many opportunities to get your foot in the field, so I figured I could take the first step in helping people find those opportunities. If I wasn't as involved, maybe my grades wouldn't have been as high, but it also offers me an opportunity to talk to others taking those classes and form relationships with them.
Sharing the information that I've learned from the Sustainability Club will help others just gain more knowledge on being and living a healthier life and helping our planet.
We welcome all types of people, all colors, all ethnicities into one space so they can share their stories and make progress here on campus.
We need a safe place to come together.
A place where you can be yourself.
Having a group of like-minded people that are passionate about the same things that we have.
There are some students here who are going through a hard time, whether be it mental health or living situations. If we are, at the end of the day, are not helping each other, then what's the point of community college?
In a way where I can feel motivated to help others.
You don't have to be worried about anything or anyone.
This is why it's important for you to support student clubs.
Miramar love, all the way.
Go Jets!
Miramar love.
Go Jets!
Miramar love.
Miramar love.
Thanks to the Student Affairs Office for putting that together. Edward Borak, who was our previous ASG president, put that together. Now we'd like to hear from our HSI STEM Exito Program Director, Ivan Valdivinos Gutierrez.
Hi, everyone. Thank you for having me today. So I'm going to give a little brief overview of what the HSI grant entails and what we're hoping to build within the 5-year grant. So it's a 5-year federal grant, and we are in year 2 starting this October. And so we've done a couple of things to really build that community for our Latino students and other minoritized students here at Miramar College. And today I'm going to highlight 2 of those opportunities. But before I get to talking about the STEM Center, I wanted to just kind of say that this grant is the first HSI grant here at this college. And so I see my role here with 2 goals. The first one is to really build this HSI identity here at Miramar College so we can sustain what it means to really serve our Latino students, and then hopefully bring in more grants like this to Miramar in the future once this grant is over in its 5 years. The second goal is to really build that community. I talk to students here across campus and really ask them, like, what does community mean to them, and how can we better serve them in terms of our STEM practices, but also our opportunities with our Latinx students. And so I really took that information from the students to heart because I wanted to implement programming that really supported who they are and their identities and backgrounds to support their success in STEM. And so the first thing I want to talk about was our STEM Center. So if you look in the back here, I do have a couple of photos and ways in which that we have used our STEM Center to really build community for our students. And so we do a lot with our STEM Center. Our goal is to really have a collaborative space for STEM in general, but really our Latino students. And so we do this by providing a couple of opportunities in our center. The biggest one is our robust tutoring program, which I'll discuss more a little bit in the next slide. We also offer drop-in STEM counseling opportunities for our students. So we have 2 counselors that will go in there for a couple hours a week and help field questions on different aspects of transferring or just succeeding here at the college, or financial aid questions. Whatever questions students might have, these STEM counselors do field those in those settings. We like to bring our opportunities to the students, and so we know that this collaborative space does draw students, and so we wanted to bring our STEM counselors into this space versus then having to go seek out our counselors. We also offer workshops, events, and activities. So in the back in the photos here, you'll see some of our HSI Week events that we did develop and implement. And the goal was for us to kind of build that community the community for our students and really infuse that Latino culture into these activities in our STEM Center. We also offer a relaxation area. So a little corner of our space does have a couch, a microwave. We like to put up snacks. We have books, we have games for students to not just focus on the academics, but also the fun side of college, right? The relaxation, the community building. And so we incorporated that in part of our STEM Center. And then lastly, we some of our STEM faculty do host office hours in this space. And so again, they bring their services to the students versus the students having to go seek out the office hours in their spaces, in their offices. And so our faculty do a great job of also being in that space and communicating with our students about their academics, about career prospects, about really any questions that students have for these mentors, right? These faculty mentors, and they are part of this space. Next slide. The next aspect that I want to talk about is our robust tutoring program, which we call our peer-led team learning program. And today we do have one of our PLTL leaders that is going to speak a little bit about that, which we'll get into that after I explain what this program is. And in the grant, we're really targeting a few courses, which we call gateway courses in STEM and math. And these are those introductory courses that sometimes could be the hardest thing for students to persist to STEM careers and majors. And so our goal is to target these courses and provide tutoring services. And we do this in a couple of ways. So one of those ways is by providing embedded tutoring. We heard about embedded tutoring earlier with a different program. And so we do that as well in these STEM courses. And so we do hire roughly between 10 and 15 PLTL leaders to go into these classrooms and support students in real time in consultation with the faculty. And so we do meet with the faculty to discuss the topics for the week. They design worksheets that they also facilitate in workshops that they host in the STEM center. And so all that's happening within our embedded tutoring program or embedded tutoring side of our PLTL program. We also offer traditional drop-in tutoring in our STEM center. So that's the traditional model of a student coming in and asking a question and then getting support for that question. And so we have that as well. And then we also offer our workshop tutorials, like I mentioned earlier. So again, our PLTL leaders meet with faculty in certain subjects and create worksheets that they facilitate in the STEM center, really a review session for the student for that week's topics. And so we offer that within our tutoring services. So now I'm going to let one of our PLTL leaders, Kayla here, discuss a little bit about her experience being a leader and tutor for our students.
Hi, I'm Kayla. I am a PLTL leader. I did workshops for Math 104, 141, 150, and I also did it for Physics 195. I am currently just doing embedded tutoring for Physics 195, but when I was doing my workshops for Math and Physics, no. I got to work with a bunch of faculty, and I really enjoyed meeting faculty members and working with our students and helping them I think I'm sorry.
Right. Thank you, Kayla. So yeah, so our tutors do really support our students in the STEM ACPs, and so that's one of the ways that they do that is by supporting the faculty, but also the students in the center. And we have really good feedback. We have a lot of really good engagement as well. And as we increase our tutoring services, we have seen an increase in students coming to our center as well. Next slide. So now I'm going to move forward with discussing a little bit about our planning summit, which is happening tomorrow, and a little bit about how we came up with the theme and what we're going to be doing to really engage this concept of servingness, which our president talked about earlier. And so our planning summit is really a cultivation of how we see HSI identity moving forward in the next couple of years. And this is our kickstart to that. At least one of my major goals was to, again, build that identity piece for HSI. And so this is one of the ways that I am starting to do that. I am new to this role. I'm just ending my first year. And so I'm trying to build this HSI identity through different modes, right? And so this planning summit, our theme is, again, moving with what we're doing here with the campus is cultivating community, making the invisible visible through servingness. And so in tomorrow's planning summit, we do have a guest speaker, Dr. Gina Garcia, who is one of the creators of the concept of servingness. And really what servingness means is how to better serve our minoritized students, particularly Latino students. And so in this planning summit, she'll be discussing that concept and how servingness came to be in terms of the theoretical research base, but also how we can enact servingness in our practice. And really, and our hope is through our workshops and activities that we are providing through this planning summit, that we really start seeing how and assessing how Myanmar College has been enacting servingness in our community now, but what we can do to move forward and better support our Latino population here at Myanmar College. We did start this servingness concept engagement already with a book launch that I started. And so this book club, we read the book back here called HSIs in Practice. And so members of our faculty and staff joined me in conversations every week for an hour on different chapters in this book that targeted things like advising, leadership, how to support or how to better support families in our college, and different aspects of the college environment and ecosystem. And so we discussed these different chapters and we brainstormed ideas on how we could better support different areas of the college through servingness. And that was the launch of this servingness concept and theme. And so in our planning summit, I don't see it as a culmination of servingness because I'm hoping that this is the start of it, that we continue to have these servingness conversations beyond the planning summit. And so the planning summit is really going to give us a how do I say this, a framework really to how to enact servingness in our practice next year or beyond the planning summit. And so we have provided a great programming for our faculty and staff, and I'm hoping that we are able to engage in great conversations and move that forward beyond the planning summit. And I'm excited about it. And thank you.
Okay, on to the next presentation. We're going to invite up Professor Brenda Wilborn, who's going to share how she builds community in her classroom.
All right. Is it on? Okay. All right. Welcome. Not on. Not on? It says on. Okay. All right. Welcome to Math 141 Pre-Calculus. All right. So this is one of those first classes that people who are on the STEM track take in mathematics. So this is kind of an introduction to get people into the STEM track for mathematics. This was the slide I had at the beginning. Oops, did I go over too many? Hang on. There we go. So this is the slide that I start off class every day with so that students have something to do when they come in every day. They pick up a half sheet of paper, they go to their tables, they get started on this problem. We do it every day. They have about 10 minutes to work on it. They can talk to anyone in the class. They can use any notes, but no phones, no online solvers, etc. This is something that we have covered before. The goal of this is to get them talking to each other right at the very beginning of class, for them to know what to do when they come in without waiting for any kind of instruction. And then if you see there's a little musical notes there, how I do collection of these is I turn on the music. It's a 2-minute and 2-second song. That is the same song every week. And they know that they have to come up and put it in my little bin, and I close the bin when the song ends. So the goal is to help them to get ready to take tests and do problems under a little bit of time pressure. They can talk to each other. These actually don't count for anything. I write comments on every single one of them, but I do not give points. There's no score, but it's to help them get ready for tests. So this was the opener from today. And unfortunately, the little Zoom thing is covering up our Happy Pi Day. And then the next thing I do after everybody's turned it in is we go over what's going on this week. So we are a third of the way through the course. This was the end of week 7. Exam 1 was last week, so I was returning that today, and they have a quiz available. These are things to remind them of what is coming up next. Then I always do a graphic of the week, which sometimes is a informational graphic, but usually it's a math joke. This is a math joke. Okay, we have a couple of math people. We talk, and I try to pick one because we're starting trig this week. So I pick one that is trigonometry related, so that they can understand the difference that SIN is a function symbol for the function of sine, as opposed to S times I times N. You can only cancel if it's multiplication, but S, I, and N are not being multiplied. They're a function. Then we also talk about how X X is a variable, but at the bottom, what did this poor person do? They made X a letter in a word of 6. So we do one of these. I usually have students talk about it, then we, talk about it. All right, so now our topic for today is not trigonometry. Ours is about building community in the classroom. So I'm going to start with what you can't do to build community in the classroom. You cannot do just one activity. It will not work. You will not have it. There's no one magic activity. I also strongly believe you can't do it through gimmicky activities. It's got to be content related. They're there to learn something. And students, I think, can see right through gimmick activities. You also cannot do it with just structure, and you also cannot do it with just tone. You got to have both. You can't do the same thing in every environment. Synchronous Zoom classes are different than asynchronous classes, are different than in-person classes. And finally, you can't do it in a 10-minute presentation, so I'm not going to build community between you guys. You got to do that some other time. These are the things you can do. It's small incremental steps that you have to sustain over time. So I broke it into 5 kind of categories, and I'm going to talk about some of the things I do in each of these 5 categories. And then, of course, this is the big thing with everything. It's being consistent over time. That is the key. All right, so course structure, and I invited some of my former students who are available this evening to come on up.
Thank you, Professor Wilburn. It's an honor to see you all. My name is Behrouz. Nice to meet you. I'm one of the international students here at Miramar and a former student of Professor Wilburn's, specifically last semesters in pre-calculus or Math 141. As all of the students in the room would know, every semester starts with reading the syllabus of your courses for the semester. And as such, I am really glad that for the first math course that I officially took in my career here at Miramar, if you could call it a career, honestly, it was very welcoming, and it was explained in simple terms what is expected of me in the semester, and leading in further into the semester, you could always see what is expected of you. As such, it allowed me to continuously meet the expectations, so to speak, and both of mine and Professor Wilburn's, and I believe that hugely contributes to the success of every student, as you would imagine. There are different activities with different stakes. So some, like Professor Wilburn told you earlier, have no bearing on your scores and are just purely for training, so to speak. Others are more valuable points-wise and require help with the lab, which is a great resource that I recommend everyone to utilize as they can. And after this note, I would also say that the timing is very crucial, and as everything is scheduled ahead of time and you can always look up the schedule, it really helps to try to manage your time correctly. And that'll be all from me. Thank you for your time.
And then one last thing, this is from me, is that I try as a professor to be very clear about what I'm going to do, and then I actually do it. So I try to stick with what I say. This is how the course is going to run each week, and then you stick to what you're going to do. And of course, there's lots of other pieces with your course setup in order to create a strong community in your course. Now I have one student who really wanted to share a comment, so she sent a video.
Hi, my name is Shauna Owen, and I took Professor Wilborn's Math 116 class last semester. And I am a full-time worker. I have 2 kids, and honestly, math was something that was sprung on me at the last minute by San Diego State that I needed to complete it to get my degree. So needless to say, I was very nervous to go into this class after so many years. But Professor Wilborn has a really great setup in that she encourages a lot of interaction between all the students. There's a lot of group work, and you essentially can't walk out of there meeting at least one person that you can rely on to help you throughout the class. So I appreciated the hybrid format. It was very easy to follow. I learned a lot, and now I'm in calculus, and I feel very prepared for it. So I genuinely do appreciate the format and style that Professor Wilborn offers.
Next slide. Oh, you gotta use
Hi, my name is
yeah. All right, so now talking about Canvas, because of the way our classes are set up now, Canvas is an integral part even for in-person classes. So I'm gonna have another former.
My name is Emily Arnold. I'm a first generation student here. I have 2 disabilities and English is my second language. Excuse me. I'm making a career change and I took trigonometry and pre-calculus with Professor Wilborn in 2022 and 2023. I'm going to briefly discuss my experience with Professor Wilborn's Canvas layout and procedures. Professor Wilborn quickly made me feel comfortable in her class by encouraging communication with other students and group work. What I remember the most from those classes was how detailed her approach was, both in class and on Canvas. The layout of the Canvas shell was logical and intuitive with clear instructions on how to navigate the platform and where to find crucial information. Deadlines and due dates were clearly posted both in Canvas and in the syllabus, and it was very easy to understand what needed to be done just from studying the shell. Moreover, I am grateful that Professor Wilborn organized the Canvas shell in a structured manner because it showed that she respected the students' time by providing a simple, easy to use interface and responding to emails in a quick manner. There were also additional resources posted in Canvas, which I really appreciated, such as tutoring alternatives and other things you might need to be successful in the class. What I liked the most was how the content and consistency of the Canvas shell translated into lectures and class time. There was no redundancy or conflicting information and very little ambiguity, which I feel is very important for a subject as intricate as math. Overall, I believe I have Professor Wilborn to thank for my success in Calculus and Calculus 2, which I'm currently taking. She asks a lot from her students, and her classes are very dense and full of information, but I am grateful for that because she provided an excellent foundation for me and other students to succeed. Thank you.
All right, so we are now halfway through, a little more than halfway through the presentation. My classes are usually 2.5 hours long for most of the ones that I teach, which is a long time. So we do a break, and during the break, I always put up a slide of the mathematician of the week, and this is this week's mathematician. I try to do some more current mathematicians. We do a few ancients, respect your elders days, but we also try to do people that this person is currently teaching at UCLA, which they could transfer to and take a class with the greatest living mathematician right now, Terrence Tao. And so it's good to kind of broaden the view of what mathematicians are and what mathematicians look like. There are all kinds. All right, so now I'm going to have 2 other students come up and talk about classroom layout.
Hello, everyone. My name is Allison Vincent. I am one of Professor Wilborn's previous students. I took her pre-calculus class 141 last semester.
Hello, everyone. My name is Daniel Win. I actually came from Taiwan to study in US like last year. So Myanmar is like my first school and first place to be studying in English here. And I was in the same class as Bach and Allison in the pre-cal math 141.
So personally, I just noticed that we've just started recently changing the tables to mimic this layout instead of just straight in a line. And personally, I really appreciate this layout much more because it's way simpler to connect with my peers and ask them for help. instead of just in a line. I know it's super awkward to when there's someone right next to you, you don't really know them that well, to ask them for help, but you want help. It's much easier if there's someone sitting right across from you to ask them for help.
And like one thing I think this layout works the best is like, yeah, the whiteboard. So every time we got some like exercises in a section, and the professor will encourage us to come up to the whiteboard. And usually maybe it may be in different groups than your like actual seats. So it's kind of nice to know different people. Yeah.
During class time, we usually had assignments in the middle of the class time where we just got to work with our peers, which also helped us build community because, of course, if one of us didn't understand the question, there was someone at the table who did understand the question, and we were able to collaborate and complete the assignment. And once that was turned in, Professor Wilborn would mark our papers and tell us and give us comments, which was very helpful because it's usually frustrating if you hand in an assignment and the teacher gives it back to you with just a number and nothing else. So it's very helpful if there's comments telling us what we did incorrectly or what we did correctly.
And then this last bullet point is for me is my goal is to never waste students' time. So I want every minute that they're in my class to be a productive minute so they feel like it was worth their while to get to class. So that's one thing that I put in the classroom. I'm going to put a little addendum to what Daniel said is I don't encourage students to go to the board. They have to. The entire class goes. And we all go at the same time. So everybody is up on the boards at the same time to the point where we have had to request extra whiteboard space so that I can spread out the 45 students well enough to fit at the board. And of course, there are tons of other pieces. So building student-to-student interaction. Whitney is going to come.
Hi, everybody. My name is Whitney Anderson, and even though I don't look it, I am 31. I graduated high school in 2011. I took some time off, and when you take time off from math and you come back, it's like, oh my God, I cannot believe it. Was I learning this in elementary school? Geez. Being in Mr. Wilborn's class, it was like riding a bike again for the third time. You already had it. Her lectures were so easy to follow, and the fact that we did have peer interactions made it so much easier to not feel so down on yourself about what you didn't know, because there was someone next to you who also didn't know. And the camaraderie between students was so easy, it made working together even easier. There were times where she didn't even have to say, go find a partner. It'd be like, you, me, yeah, okay. It was already there. We had moments where we would go to, we went to the math lab and there was a project there. We made our own groups because she encouraged us to talk to each other. On the first day, there was an activity where she had questions and she would say, go find someone who go ask them their favorite food. Where are they from? What's their favorite movie? See what you have in common. And it started a dialogue between all of us. We would even work together at the board between groups. How did you get that answer? Oh, that makes sense. So it built a great sense of community. And if there were students in there who felt invisible, it was always someone to say, here's my hand and let me help you. So that's how we built community in her class.
All right. And one other little thing that I do at the board, I have enough markers for everybody at the board. So yes, I carry around about 50 markers with me into every class because I have 45 students and every person has to hold a marker at the board so everyone can participate in board work. And then this is, again, for me, I have to get out of the way. So when the students are working at the board, and even if they're saying something wrong, I don't have to be there to correct it. I do roam around and give tips, and I do correct eventually, but I have to make sure it's not always focused on me. The last topic area, we are almost done, is the student, instructor-student interaction. And those are little things, like I start every email a student or a in Canvas inbox that a student sends me with thank you for reaching out, to anything to help validate students, to make them feel more comfortable. I do send weekly announcements so that there is that constant contact, even though we meet in class also every week. Also, I try very hard to be very compassionate with students who share any personal details with me. And I also refer them and connect them to campus services. So that screenshot up there was from a quiz I got from a student last week and said, sorry, I'm struggling with homework and life. And then this is the start of my response to her when she submitted her quiz on Canvas. She did stop by the office and I did end up being able to help get her connected to the mental health services. Given that students do share personal information, I also do not pressure any students to share any personal information. They do not have to share anything about why they missed class. Personal information is personal information, and they do not have to share that with me. And so any identity that they have is theirs to decide when and who they want to share it with. I also make sure that we have several drops of every category that happens for everyone. So if you miss something, there's no justification. I don't need a note. I don't need an explanation. Everybody is allowed to miss 2 weeks of class and it doesn't affect their grade. All right, we're wrapping it up. I always wrap up class with what's expected before the next time we see each other, and have a great week.
Thank you. Thank you. Okay, closing activity. I'd like to bring up Olivia Flores, one of our fabulous counselors.
Hi, everybody. So as you walked in, if you were the first handful of people that walked in, you should have gotten a paddle like this that says Miramar Love. So what I was doing, and hopefully what all of you were doing as we were listening to the students come up, I was able to identify a few themes that came up often. So I'm just going to read a few themes out loud. If you identify with one of these themes, if you are familiar with one of these themes, if you yourself can also relate to one of these themes, I highly recommend you wave your Miramar Love. We're going to kind of look around and see how many of us here create community around the themes that we hear our students here at Miramar. So one of the first themes I heard was a student saying they were having some anxiety. Has anybody here ever felt anxiety? Yeah, me too. I have anxiety right now speaking in front of you guys. Many of our students, as well as myself, identify as multilingual. We know more than one language, or maybe perhaps English was not our first language. Okay, if we can look around too. And finally, just real quick, I found just two themes that kind of often popped up was students feeling like they were pushed to do things for the first time, or feeling uncomfortable when they were asked to do something that they weren't unsure of. So how many of us have felt like we had to do something for the first time, or feeling, pushed? So I hope that we take some of the themes that we heard from our students and encourage all of us to identify that we all are part of the same community here at Miramar. Thank you.
All right, that's it. Come on back up, Wes. Thank you to all our presenters. Thank you for taking your time.
I thought Steve was going to take the mic from me because we're over time. So thank you for your patience with us. Just a couple of things to wrap up here. Number one, I just want to speak to that anxiety factor. This is off script. One thing that's really, people say I'm good at public speaking, and notice that I don't do a script. I don't, because it's hard to go off script if you don't have a script, right? So you can just kind of insert things. So for those students in particular who were nervous, felt like you were choking and things like that, let me, or anyone else in the room that feels that way, let me share my first day teaching with you very briefly. You're with me? 1992. I'm a TA working on a master's degree. It's Comp 101. I come into class. There's the students. All of a sudden, I start sweating like you wouldn't believe. I'm shaking and I'm trying to speak. My voice is quavering. You know those lecterns that you put on top of tables? That's what I had. I leaned on that to try to steady the shake. Pablo called it. There it goes over the end of the table. And I'm like, oh my God, what am I going to do? This girl over here very nicely straightened her books, put them in her backpack, got up and left. Someone else looked at that and I could see they were thinking, that's what I want to do. But then I'd have to walk in front of the class. That was my first day teaching. So for those of you that think I'm Mr. Polished at this, no, even as introverts, because I'm an introvert, you can overcome those things and you can accomplish anything. If I can go from that to getting through this with, I got anxiety, I've got it. Anybody can. So now back on script. I hope you see that our clarity defines us. Here at Miramar, we are clear about what our purpose is. We're building community. We are about making the invisible visible. And we're very clear about that. We're laser focused and becoming even more. You heard me say earlier, we're carrying this theme into next year because we recognize we're not there yet. But we're clear on what we want to do and we will get there. Wes could do that in 92. We will get there. The other thing I want to point out is you may have noticed in the Miramar land acknowledgement that it's called out that in the indigenous cultures, land does not belong to people. People belong to land. And that's my closing statement. Miramar does not belong to us. We belong to Miramar. Thank you.
Yes. Here.
That was just a great photo I had to take it.
Okay.
Chancellor, do you have any comments?
Just want to thank Wes and the entire team for putting together this presentation. I know how much hard work it goes to be able to display all of this. Absolutely wonderful to see so many students featured and hear directly from them on their experiences. Also want to thank all of the classified professionals and supervisors who have made us being here possible. There's a ton of work that goes into that and they don't get to be front and center all the time, but I want them to know that we see and value that. So just thank you immensely for what you shared with us today.
Thank you. Any comments from my colleagues on the board?
I would just echo what our chancellor said, and thank you so much for sharing all the wonderful things that are happening at Miramar. I'm happy to be here and hearing that our students, and our employees are having a great time. I love the hashtag Miramar Love. Thank you.
I would like to quickly note, can you read? I used to be a career ambassador and I also used to be a tutor. So I just want to say the highlighting of both of these programs is incredibly important to me because I was able to learn about resources I didn't know before. While working with them, that further fueled me to really work on cultivating community because students who don't know of these resources are really missing out. So I want to thank you for sharing up today. Thank you.
Thank you.
I enjoyed all the presentations, but what I think I personally learned the most from was the math one, because it's a subject that I am not the strongest at. And to hear your process for how you create all these opportunities for people to learn was really wonderful. So thank you for that and for all of the presentations.
Thank you.
Mary, if I may.
Mary?
They were all fantastic. Thank you all. Wes, kudos on the framing device between the opening of the land acknowledgement and the closing. That was a very nice rhetorical technique there. Excellent work, everyone. It always does my heart good to hear about tutors and, tutor-like things, and all the other amazing things. I would like to say something really quickly about Malia's point about spring break. So one of the invisible things in the work we do that she was referencing is the idea of emotional labor. And emotional labor is something that we don't talk about. I talk about it with tutors, but we don't talk about the emotional labor of supporting one another, supporting the work of the college, supporting people who are in distress. Like, we love our work, but that doesn't mean that there isn't a depletion that happens. And everyone who knows someone who works in the nonprofit arena, in any kind of social justice work, that whole idea of burnout and the whole idea of emotional labor is huge, right? You have to somehow find a balance between filling your own well and being there for others. And so I hope that we are all wise enough, we show the personal wisdom to follow Malia's excellent advice, and we renew ourselves over spring break so we can come back and do the amazing work that you're all doing. And my last comment is, it has been my honor to come to this campus this is my 16th year. And this is a very different campus than it was 16 years ago. And I mean that in a very good way. So thank you.
Thank you. It was really interesting to get the insight into what a math class is like. I haven't had a math class probably in 40 years. And Professor, you made it look like it was something that almost anybody could walk through. The care really came through in that presentation. So that's what I loved. That was my Miramar love. Okay, we have a lot of business tonight. The agenda says a 5-minute break to allow people to go, and I'm going to really enforce that. It is 5:35, and I'm going to just let people get up and leave who had presentations, and then we'll get into our business. We're going to move some items up on the agenda, but at 5:40, I'm going to ring the gavel and we're going to come back. So we're just take a brief recess for 5 minutes. I have a question for you. That's great. It's 5:40. You're such a well-behaved class. Item 401 is the approval of minutes. Hopefully my colleagues have had a chance to review them. Are there any corrections or additions? No? Seeing none, they stand approved. Item 501, are there any items to remove from the agenda?
There are no items to remove.
Okay, now we are developing our consent calendar, which allows the Board of Trustees to vote on a group of items that are routine, standard, and non-controversial. As always, in Section 9, Board Policies and Board Section 10, New Business will automatically be pulled, as will Section 16, Informational Items. Are there any items to pull in Section 11? None. Are there any items in Section 12? Seeing none. Section 13 is Budget and Finance. It's 1307. Okay, we're pulling item 1307. Human Resources. We're going to pull 1406. And in Facilities, Section 15, we will pull 1501 and 1502. And out of respect for public commenters that are here for this items, I'm going to move 1501 and 1502 to our next item. Are there any objections to moving these to the front of the agenda? Seeing none from my colleagues. Does the Academic Senate have anything to pull? Thank you. Now the board will vote on the development of the consent calendar. We're voting on the consent calendar as developed. How does our student trustee vote? Oh, I'm sorry. We need a motion.
I motion to approve. Second.
And we have a second. Thank you, Amanda. And our student trustee votes?
I vote aye.
Thank you. Now on the consent calendar, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? The consent calendar is approved. Before we move on to Amanda, I think I can go to item 1501 now. Okay, so item 1501, let me give that to our chancellor to introduce.
So back in August at our board meeting, the board gave direction to me to ensure that we conclude negotiations with the San Diego County Building and Construction Trades Council on a community benefit agreement to apply to future large-scale district construction projects associated with the contemplated bond and other projects. I'm very happy to report that those negotiations have been concluded. We bring for the board's consideration tonight that community benefits agreement. I'd like to invite Vice Chancellor Peterson to give us an overview of key items that are in the agreement. And then we have public commenters on this item.
Chancellor Smith, we generally do public comment first and
That-
then do the introduction.
Thank you, Amanda. Let's do our public comments and then Vice Chancellor Peterson.
And public comments can be done at this microphone here.
So Amanda's going to call our commenters in order.
Our first commenter is Dave Everett.
Thanks so much. Comments out here, and I'll turn these in for the record as well. I'm here today on behalf of the Western Electrical Contractors Association. We're here to oppose agenda item 1501. This project labor agreement bans all of our apprentices, our WECA apprentices, from working on public works projects in the district. Even if they live here and go to school here and pay taxes here, they still won't be allowed to work on this project as apprentices. It also discriminates against over 80% of the construction workers that choose to work in a union-free environment. The San Diego Community College District's proposed CBA PLA discriminates against more than 8 out of 10 construction workers. Therefore, it's not surprising that PLAs raise cost 13 to 15% on average. If 80% of the McDonald's you closed in the city, the remaining 20, the prices of a Big Mac would likely go up. I mean, that's just supply and demand. That'll equal millions in lost taxpayer dollars due to higher bids and less bidders. When proponents claim that this PLA or CBA is open to union and non-union contractors, they do not explain the details of how the 80% of construction workers who choose to work in a non-union environment, they'll be forced to pay a number of additional costs under any project labor agreement. Merit shop workers are forced to pay into union healthcare programs they're not able to use. They're forced to pay into union pension funds that they're not able to use, and they're forced to pay fees that are equal to union dues, but they get no membership and no voting rights in the union. Because of these additional costs and many other discriminatory policies built into every project labor agreement, you'll see 3 or 4 bidders on the project that used to end up receiving 25 or 30 bids. On average, that will result in a 13 to 15% increase in cost, and you end up building 4 projects for the price of 5. At Riverside Unified School District, they just passed a project labor agreement last summer. They had a $30 million price increase on the very first project. The third issue with the PLA is the cost just to administer the project labor agreement. The city of San Diego passed a discriminatory PLA special interest deal that's going to cost the city over $150,000 a year just to administer it. The cost to administer the PLA over the lifetime of the deal, just to administer it, is over $1 million taxpayer dollars. Because PLAs are so controversial, they've been banned in nearly half the states in the country. And I sent some information over, and a cute map that shows that as well. Additionally, this agenda item does not even mention the fact that a PLA, and to me, this is the most important thing, a PLA would restrict the use of minority contractors on public projects. 98% of Black and Latino-owned construction companies are non-union. 98% of Black and Latino-owned construction companies are non-union, and PLAs restrict the use of minority contractors on public projects, according to the National Black Chamber of Commerce. Don't take it from me. In an affidavit numbered to the court, or submitted to the court, Harry C. Alford, the president of the National Black Chamber of Commerce, under oath, said about 98% of Black and Latino-owned construction companies are non-union, and PLAs restrict the use of minority contractors on public projects. It was a great Forbes article I included in my comments as well. The final issue with this PLA is that all of these local goals, minority hiring goals or veterans goals, can be done without a project labor agreement. Nothing in the PLA prevents the unions from failing to reach any of these hiring goals. And I can send you example after example of where these local hiring goals, minority hiring goals, or veteran goals are not met. There's no repercussions, there's no protections for taxpayers, and this PLA has no type of enforcement mechanism if the unions do not meet their phony local hire goals or minority participation goals or veteran hire goals. So in conclusion, please vote to oppose agenda item 15.01. This community benefit agreement, project labor agreement, will result in reduced bidders and increased cost on future large-scale SDCCD construction projects. And please feel free to contact me if you have any questions or would like to discuss the issue further. Thank you so much for your time, and I'll submit these for the record. Thanks so much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Our next speaker is Corey Schumacher.
Hello, board. My name is Corey Schumacher. I am the political director of IBEW 569, which represents the 3,600 union electricians and power professionals from San Diego and Imperial counties. We are here to urge your support of this item today, and I will be ceding my time to the eloquence and intelligence of Carol Kim from the San Diego Building and Construction Trades at the end of this. Thank you.
Thank you. Our next speaker is Patrick Davidson.
How you doing today?
Hi there.
All right, my name is Patrick Davidson with International Union of Painters and Allied Trades. We represent over 10,000 members in Southern California. I'm here to support the project labor agreement. Project labor agreements are crucial for fostering fairness, efficiency, and quality of construction projects by establishing standardized terms for wages, benefits, and working conditions. They ensure that workers are treated fairly and equitably. Moreover, PLAs encourage collaboration between contractors and unions, leading to smoother project execution and timely completion. They also promote safety standards, enhancing workplace conditions, are all involved. In essence, project labor agreements are not just about building structures, they're about building communities and fostering a thriving construction industry that benefits everyone involved in it. This is why I'm in support of project labor agreements. Let's embrace PLAs for a better future in construction. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Our next speaker is Johnny Swanson.
Good evening, board members. My name is Johnny Swanson. I am with the Iron Workers Union Local 229 here in San Diego. I'd like to cede the rest of my time to Ms. Carol Kim from the Building Trades.
Next is Tony Sanchez.
Hello.
Hey there.
Hi. My name is Tony Sanchez. I'm with the Painters and Allied Trade. So I got in the union since I was 18, and I'm at my 45 now. It's been going great. This helps a lot of kids coming out of schools to look for a better future for them and their family. They get to get a medical pension and even be able to buy a house in the future, for them and their family. So if you could please support the PLA. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next is David Zepeda.
Good evening, board members. My name is David Cepeda. I'm with the International Union of Painters and Allied Trades. I would like to express my support for this PLA, and I'd like to give the rest of my time to Carol Kim too. Thank you.
Next is Sean Ellis.
Good evening. My name is Sean Ellis. I'm the political director and organizer for the United Association Local Union 230, the Plumbers and Pipe Fitters Union here in San Diego. We've been serving this place for over 100 years. So I'm just going to get right to the point before I see the rest of my time to our fearless leader, Carol Kim. Look, I'm a veteran. I was an infantryman, combat infantryman. If it wasn't for project labor agreements or community benefit agreements or workforce agreements that allowed someone like me direct entry into the union. I'm a Pacific Islander and I'm from the hood in Long Beach. And it was that PLA, it was that opportunity that brought me into the union that doesn't really look like me. Fast forward now, I'm the political director, the organizer. We look very different. And that's the power of one project, one PLA. That's the power that you have in your hands. So that gentleman that opposed it, the fact that he said no veterans come in, people don't get benefit, I'm standing right in front of you guys. Okay, so UA Local 230 supports community benefit agreements, workforce agreements, and I do see the rest of our time to Carol Kim from the Building Trades. Thank you.
Next up is Sheng Cheng.
Good evening, board members. My name is Sheng Cheng. I am International Brotherhood of Electrical Workers 569 apprentice, and I strongly urge you in support of this project labor agreement. And I would like to see the rest of my time to San Diego Building and Construction Trade Business Manager, Ms. Carol Kim. Thank you.
Next up is Matthew Leva Gonzalez.
Good evening, board members. My name is Matthew Leba Gonzalez. I am the business representative for the San Diego Building and Construction Trades Council. That's the umbrella organization for over 35,000 hardworking men and women in San Diego. I'm in strong support of the PLA, and I'd like to cede my time to my sister, Carol Kim. Thank you.
Next up is Kelvin Barrios. Okay. Then the final speaker is Carol Kim.
Good evening, board members. Thank you so much for having us here today and for letting us bring before you this project labor agreement, community benefits agreement, as we're calling it. This is a really monumental opportunity for us to do some amazing work together and to partner together to ensure that we are actually creating a greater, more equitable future for the workers who will be on your projects now and into the future. I just wanted to mention a couple of things. Wanted to note that as I said this at the last meeting, largely, community benefits are a policy tool that allow you to, as public agencies, to enable local hiring and help manage complex construction projects. They ensure that workers are skilled and trained. I want to note that, the gentleman that spoke at the start, he talked about the fact that, he talked about apprenticeship programs. And I just want to say that in California, 95% of every every graduate, 95% of the graduates that come out of apprenticeship programs, state registered apprenticeship programs in the state, come out of a union construction apprenticeship program. It doesn't matter what industry sector we're talking about. 95% of all the graduates across all the industry sectors are coming out of union apprenticeship programs, construction ones specifically. We do a really good job of this. We take this work very seriously and we feel very responsible for it. So when we are doing this, we're trying very hard to ensure that the largest number of apprentices possible are getting the highest quality education and training to be able to do this work. Beyond that, I just want to also note that we do actually meet our local hire goals. We have them at many different agencies across the county. You can check in with all of them. San Diego Unified is just, right next door to a lot of your facilities. They're a great example of that. And because of our public PLAs, there are now hundreds of non-union construction workers living and working in this county who are covered by the full family health care that union pension trusts or union health and welfare trusts provide. And there are many, many dozens, over 100 I've heard, who are now fully vested in union pension plans without ever having ever paid union dues. So when he says that they're being forced to pay union dues, that's just not correct. In fact, that's explicitly written in the contract that that's not something that we do or require. And then beyond this, I just want to note that our unions are majority minority. They're made up of very diverse communities. We're incredibly proud of the work we've done to include more folks and to uplift those workers and their families. We're actively doing outreach and recruiting from our most disenfranchised and marginalized communities. We have written grants in partnership with many public agencies, and we've got a program running right here, not in Miramar College, but with your College of Continuing Ed. I see Dr. Tina King back there. We've got a world class, I want to say. People call me about it from across the country to talk about it and ask me questions of an MC3 apprenticeship readiness program that we're operating out of this district already. So we're going to be creating pathways for all of those students into apprenticeships and into these careers that will actually support their families with real middle class jobs. And we're super excited about it. I want to just take a moment to say to you that your staff really negotiated very powerfully on your behalf. Dr. Peterson over there, he actually got us to include some provisions we've never included before. So he did a great job. It was a pleasure to work with him. It was a robust negotiation for what it's worth. And we feel very, very good about what we're bringing before you today. We believe it's fair. We believe it's going to actually help uplift the principles and values of this board and this organization. And we're looking forward to partnering with you in the future. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Do we have any other? Oh, sure.
I'm sorry. And I just wanted to ask all of our members who are here supporting, they've worked all day and they came out to support. So if you could just stand up if you're one of our Building Trades Union members, that'd be wonderful. Thank you guys.
Do we have any other public comment on this item? No?
Not on this item.
Okay. Dr. Peterson, can you give us a summary?
Thank you very much. It was actually a great pleasure to be also working with the Trades Council on this. And a lot of the robust discussion really was, as we pointed out and very quickly realized, is we really were all on the same side of the table. We want to do what is in the best interest of the community, the best interest of our students, the best interest of the mission that we have as a district, and to ensure that we're bringing the best value to the community as caregivers and those entrusted with the public vote for this kind of project. And so one of the key things and the first things that I want to highlight that you'll see on the slide here is that where we had some of the most robust discussion was really to ensure that we were going to make sure that we were creating local jobs and local hires, and that we were including all the right kinds of people, which means every kind of people, but particularly those who have the least ability to stand up and speak for themselves. As you can see in this, one of the key things is that, first of all, it's anybody who's a San Diego County resident.
But then we go to specific points saying that 80%, so not only is there a hiring preference, but what does that really mean, hiring preference? It's an amorphous kind of a thing. So we said, let's put some teeth into it. So by saying, even if you didn't put a preference, if we say you have to do the craft hours, 80% of them have to come from people who are not only within the zip code, but regardless of what their zip code is, if they happen to be part of our former students or current students, even if they weren't our students, if they happen to be veterans, even if they're not our students, if they happen to be dependents of active duty military. We know that that's a huge component. Right here in Miramar, we very much heard all about how we have this close relationship with the Marine Corps Air Station. Particular groups such as former foster youth, formerly incarcerated. We wanted to make sure that these were particularly identified and supported groups that have proven contribution to bring to what we're going to be bringing to the community. So this was the part that we spent a lot of our time. Some of the council showed us that some of our language was a little bit redundant, but we thought it was important that we identify people and ensure that this is going to be something that demonstrated the policy initiative and the policy priorities of our board and our leadership. The CBA also focuses direct support on our apprentices. We talked in detail about that. And we have language that makes sure that the Trades Council is going to be very open to the living laboratory that the $3.5 billion bond program and over the 20 to potentially 30 years that it's going to be ongoing will be for our colleges. That this is an opportunity for not only our students to become apprentices, but that all of our curriculum that may touch on any part of this, that we have a partner in the Trades Council and all the trades that are going to be open to allowing our students to participate to the maximum as part of their curriculum that they have here. This was a very contentious one, but again, it showed we're on the same page, the partnership on the same side of the table. Is that we know that there are certain times that are unpredictable, that are the black swan events that can happen, that we don't know when something will happen. So we wanted to make sure that we were telling the taxpayers and the people who are going to be providing the funding that should there be a situation where we need to have something outside of this agreement for expedition purposes, for timeliness purposes, whatever the contingencies might be, that the district was free to bring that to our partners and that it would be duly considered. And that's what we have language in here. Again, the intent is not to go ahead and circumvent. It is simply to know that there's a safety valve that says we can't predict everything that might happen. And we're very grateful that the Trades Council was very much partnership in this to agree to this point. One other thing too is that I've certainly been involved in a number of bond programs, well over multiple billions of dollars worth. And I can tell you that I have never seen trades and construction professionals who have been able to collude across multiple things. This agreement requires that we have to have a minimum of 3 qualified bids. And it would be very, very difficult and inconceivable for me to see and think that you're going to have one plumbing company and another plumbing company and another one that says, you know what, you win this one. And you're going to stand by while I win the next one. And we're going to, because they know that somebody's going to game it. There is competition. And we, in the contract that we have negotiated, ensure that there's not only competition, qualified competition, but then we must award it based on the lowest qualified bid. So again, we are locking in the contract, the ability to go and get the lowest proposals that were given to us. And finally, safety is a huge, huge component to us because at the end of the day, whatever we might do to save money, and maybe we can talk about that when you have something like this, there is some maybe administrative burden. But part of that administrative burden is to ensure that processes are followed and that standards are met. And so our job is not to just give the lowest cost, but is to bring the best value to the community. And that value is that every human life and to avoid the injury and potential death. And we know that in the trades and the construction is some of the highest risk factors in occupations. And so we want to make this a safe environment for our students who are going to be the workers and the apprentices, and for all the people who are going to partner and the community members who work in the various trades that live among us. What we know is that Unionized workforces have an 80 to 95% higher safety margin in terms of fewer accidents, fewer injuries, and fewer work-related deaths than non-unionized. That is more than anything that is more important to us. There is no life that is worth us building any one of these things for $1 cheaper. So we're very proud of the agreement that we were able to do. We're very proud of the partnership that we have created with our trades, and we're very much looking forward to success in this amazing program we have ahead of us.
Thank you. And thank you to all of our public speakers being here tonight and providing us with your viewpoints and your information about this very important item before the board. For board discussion, is there any comments from my colleagues?
Bernie, I'll just make one, which is for reasons that predated my time coming on the board, the previous bond was not done with the PLA. The two previous bond programs. And we spent a lot of money talking about oversight, trying to ensure, trying to train small minority women, disabled veteran-owned businesses to be able to bid for those projects and to engage in those projects. And so it feels a little fallacious to me to argue that somehow if we didn't have the overhead for a PLA, that money would then naturally just be there for use, because it is our value set to ensure that those groups are participating in our projects and benefiting from the economic engine that is a big bond project. So I just wanted to make that observation. We would be spending money to ensure that folks got the opportunity to participate in the bond, but the PLA takes care of that for us.
Thank you. One of the important things to me about this agreement is that our students will be involved. And I know that Vice Chancellor Peterson worked hard to make sure that the students who can participate will get a priority, and that apprenticeship programs can include our students, and veterans will be involved, and all of the things that we set a high priority and a value here on this board and in this district. San Diego is a very expensive place to live. And by having this agreement, we will have a workforce on our projects who will be earning a living wage, a wage they can support their families on, a wage they can maybe dream and save up and buy a house. And that is very important to us. We educate students and change their lives, give them an education so that they can go on and go into careers with family supporting wages and high wage jobs. Our students in the trades programs down at ECC, where we have plumbing courses and we have HVAC courses and we have construction trades courses, are changing lives. And having those students involved in this agreement is going to be very, very important. I had the opportunity to vote on a PLA probably 25 years ago. And there aren't many elected officials that have the opportunity to support more than one PLA, but I supported, as a member of the County Water Authority Board, one of the very first PLAs ever adopted in this county. And I watched, as a board member of the County Water Authority, the Olivenheim Dam project get built, which is now a reservoir serving our community. I watched the San Vicente dam project and that reservoir get expanded. I watched pump stations get built, all sorts of things over the years that I look back on. I hike around Olivenheim and I know that they were built with labor that was paid a fair wage, that had benefits and retirement. And I never once heard any problems with that agreement. And that was 20 plus years ago. So I know these work. I was glad to support it 25 years ago. I'll be proud to support it again today. So if there are no other comments, may I have a motion?
I enthusiastically move for this from a fellow union member retired.
Second.
And we have a motion and a second. And any other comments? Let me ask for our student trustee to vote.
My vote is aye.
Okay, and we can take a vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? And the motion passes unanimously. Thank you. We look forward to working with you. We have one more item that we took out of order, and that's item 1502 that we have some comment on, so we moved it up. Chancellor?
Item 1502 is the contract with PCL Construction Services, who the board selected as the most responsive bidder to our request for proposals. And this is to complete the work renovating our historic theater at the Educational Cultural Complex at the College of Continuing Education. I'd like to invite Dr. King to share briefly what the renovations will do and the images of what the restored theater will look like, and then Vice Chancellor Peterson to say a few words about the contract itself.
Thank you so much. Good afternoon, Board of Trustees and community. I believe there's a PowerPoint that we will be sharing as well. I'll point. Thank you so much, Chancellor Smith, for allowing me to share. We are very, very excited about what is to come. As many of you know, October 1st, 2021 marked the victorious moment for San Diego civil rights activists who envisioned the Educational Cultural Complex as a bustling epicenter for entertainment and public service in the heart of southeastern San Diego. We are very thankful to California Senator President Pro Tem Tony Atkins, who granted us $35 million to restore our beautiful and beloved ECC Theater. And so today, after nearly 55 years it's been open, we are very excited to showcase what those $35 million will do for our college. I have to stop and say thank you to those that also made it possible. She's not here, and I was really hoping that she would be here. Vice Chancellor Lori Kosky. Many of you know she worked really hard on this grant, the proposal, and for us to receive these dollars. And so I'm here to showcase today the beautiful space and what's to come. And I really want to show how our students in our community have been a part of the layout and the project design and what we will see to come from the contractors who have been selected to do this project. And thank you again to Joe Peterson, and he'll talk a little more. This has truly been a district-wide venture for us to move in this direction. I want to show a little bit that we were able to bring on HGA, which was our design firm, and they helped us to design what will become our new ECC Theater. We had every level of our college involved in this process, from our executive level to our different constituent groups, from our faculty, academic senate, our classified senate, and our students. And you'll see that in here. Here you'll see that even to the design of the fabric in the theater space, we've been a part of this venture. And so everything that will come of the final renderings that we'll see, this has been a community vision that has been brought forth. Of course, I'm in there helping as well, and many other team members. There were many meetings that we hosted. This has been a 18-month project where we did focus groups. We've met consistently with the leadership and the constituent groups, and these are just some photos to showcase that. The most important was our student voices. We hosted many focus groups for the students. We also allowed them to showcase what they felt needed to be into this space. We wanted to make sure that the theater was representative of the students now, but also the student in 20 years. And so we took lots of photos with them. We had different classrooms come in to showcase how they wanted to see this new space. The other piece to this is we had our Historic Preservation Committee. They were very much a part of this process over the last 18 months. And that's another focus group with our Historic Preservation Committee. And now what you'll see is what is to come for our new theater. What we're looking at is the front porch. And so many of you who have had the opportunity to see our existing structure, we will be seeing the entire renovation with the front porch. In addition to the internal, the external as well will be revamped. So what you see here are these beautiful, there you go. So these beautiful awnings that will open. And typically what you would normally see is the beautiful educational cultural complex sign. And we're going to add some shade so that the entire space can be utilized. Right now, we use it as when you come up to the theater, but there's a beautiful walkway and we put a red carpet out there when we have these elaborate events. And now we'll have shade in that area as well. In addition to that, of course, we want to make sure that our new SDCCE logo is there. You know, we went through a name change, so we're going to have these beautiful SDCCE pillars in the front. And here are the opening this is the opening of the front porch from the parking structure. In addition to that, you can see it on this side. This is the same area. You can see that one of the things we wanted to capitalize on is an area that would allow for the lighting to go through the entire theater. And so we have extended the glass area from both of the front areas, not just from both of the front areas to also let me just put the red light here, to this area as well, which will become our multi-purpose room in the future. So this is our existing foyer. When you walk in from the first level, you can see the staircase. And again, we love this space, but it definitely needed some love. And this will become the new foyer. HGA, along with all of the students and the employees, we wanted to make sure that it was a very welcoming space, but that it was also digital directories, which you see in this area here. There'll be a welcome stand for someone to greet as individuals come in. And we also wanted to capitalize that the foyer has these very tall structures from the first and second level. And so there will be textured ceilings as well as all of the walls. And the flooring that you'll see later is just stunning. And it'll be throughout the entire first and second level of the theater. This too is another angle. We wanted to really capitalize on wood to make it welcoming and inviting, as well as the color. And so you can see there will be wood paneling all throughout the right side of the entryway of the foyer, which will also go along the theater, the staircase as well. This area here is what we are going to work on in the future, the multi-purpose room. So this is the historic photo of the theater. It's a beautiful space, but many of you know that it's not ADA compliant at this time. It's challenging to get in and out of the seats. The seats are, there's no entryway. If you get in the middle, you're stuck in the middle until the show is over, right? And so we are now very excited that the new theater seating will be arranged. Well, here's another picture so you can see that as well. And so what we're looking at is the existing theater. There's only two ways in, and the seats, if you're in the middle, there's no way out. There's only one entryway for handicap accessibility, which is through the top, but it doesn't give them the ability to come to the lower level. And this will become our new theater. So everything that you see here was crafted with the community in mind of what we were hoping to see, even the coloring. But the most important piece is we're able to increase the seating size. We're going up by 52 seats, as well as we're opening up so that we can have those that disabilities with wheelchairs, accessibility from both entryways from this way. Both doors will open up, as well as you can come in from both sides. So more of the view with the additional seating, which will increase our occupancy for the space. And I got trigger happy. There we go. Okay, there we go. And so just another photo to show what the theater will look, what the view will be from the top. And we've also increased space for the digital access, because right now everything is outdated and old. And so the technology will be updated in that space as well. So this is the actual gallery and theater entry on the top level of the foyer. Many of you know this is where our beloved first place winners for the MLK parade. And so this space will also be revamped. And so it will be more opening. We'll continue with the display of the arts and the culture from the community and all of the history and the ephemera that we've collected over the years. Here's another view. The ceiling will become a gold metallic, whereas you can see like a mirror metallic from both ends. And again, we're going to incorporate all of the cultural art that we've collected. And really, that is the essence of the educational cultural complex. More photos, but I want to get to the West Lobby. Currently, this is what you see, and we don't get a chance to use it because it's not very useful in that area. But it will be opened up. So there'll be seating areas for our students, as well as more cultural arts, digital directory, wayfinding for our students as well. And one of my favorite parts is we've consistently talked about the educational culture complex not having anywhere for us to eat. That's consistently come up. And so we're very excited that they're going to transform the exterior to offer a cafe and a garden. And so this is what we will now have. There will be an outdoor garden, outdoor cafe, so students can purchase food as well as those who are utilizing the venue. But the other piece to this, there will be seating area that will be also covered with the shade. And the last piece is the just more of the internal pieces of it as well. I'm going to save the community room because that's the next project to come, but it was a part of this initially, but we're going to continue to move forward. But this will be just an example of what the community room would look like. So thank you so much, and we're very, very excited, and thank you for all of your support with this project, Joe. All right.
Thank you, President King, and now Vice Chancellor Peterson.
We're excited to award this request the awarding of this contract to PCL Construction Companies. Again, we did this on a multiple bid basis where people responded to an RFP that we had. And again, I would highlight that one of the key things that we look for in any of our proposals is the safety factor. And I would point out that PCL Construction has the lowest what's called EMR score in the industry. EMR is what like your credit scores to each one of us. How you have various companies that go and score what kind of financial risk you are. EMR is where insurance companies in the insurance industry score construction companies based on their claims history, on how many workman's comp complaints, how many injury claims that they have had. And so this is a score that is objective by third parties, and it's cumulative and over time. What this means is that it isn't one charismatic executive or one charismatic sales team that happened to make the pitch upon which we go ahead and choose someone. But we can go ahead and take a look at a score. So a score of 1.0 means that you're average. If you're above 1.0 means that you're doing worse. You're having more claims than the industry average. And so if anything below 1.0 is very good. And PCL had one that is one of the lowest in the industry, 0.41. So we are very proud and very pleased to recommend that they be awarded this contract.
Thank you. Are there any public testimony on this?
Yes, we have one commenter, Lucas Mallory from PCL. He will now be able to unmute himself and address the board.
Excellent. Thank you very much. I don't know if you can see me as well. But I'll just say, my name is Lucas Mallory, Area Manager for PCL. I appreciate that recognition on our safety. The people at PCL and our trade partners and everyone we work with are critical. They're what makes our business successful. But I want to convey that we're very proud to be part of this ECC theater renovation. We recognize the importance of the theater, its history in the community, and the legacy it will create for generations. PCL is a national general contractor. We've been here in San Diego for 20 years and 40 years in Southern California. Our team did the renovation of Balboa Theater, which is celebrating its 100th year right now. And we did the Conrad Previs Performing Arts Facility at UCSD. And we will bring that same level of expertise to the ECC Theater. So we do commit to partnering with SDCCD, College of Continuing Education, and the many community members that really value this facility. So we're excited to move forward, and thank you very much for entrusting PCL.
Thank you. No other public comment? Comments from the board? Okay, well, I do have a comment. I have a question. What is the timeline for completion? When will we have a grand opening?
I think our timeline is looking at about typically once we get the full mobilization happening, it's going to be about an 18-month timeline.
So in 2 years, we'll see something like what we just, this beautiful
We'll
slide.
definitely be seeing things well along that way. And I guess the one comment that I would also want to point out that I think Dr. King really highlighted is that what we call a theater is not merely a theater. As you could see, the technology that's involved. Back in the day when maybe I was in elementary school, a theater was just a stage at the end of a gym, but this is a high technology performance laboratory. It is where people would learn to train how to do and manage lights, sound, mixing, ingress, egress, event planning, et cetera. So this is a state-of-the-art facility, and we're excited to be able to bring somebody that, a construction company that specializes in high-tech, state-of-the-art kind of spaces.
And I'm glad you mentioned that because these theaters also serve as lecture halls, conference centers, community events, and career training facilities. And I think that's what Vice Chancellor Peterson was talking about. These aren't just places to hold a play or a music event. They are career training centers for our students. And that's an important message that we hope to get out to the community as we go for our bond. One thought I did have, Tina, where are you? Oh, you're back there. You're the San Diego College of Continuing Education, and it's CC. But a word popped into my mind. This isn't a question, so don't worry. But I think you're the San Diego College of Community Education because you bring so much of the community into the passion that you and your colleagues at the College of Continuing Education bring. And I think just the way this was designed by community and the way you educate the community, you're also the College of Community Education and don't even have to change a letter. So this is very exciting. And thank you for sharing this with our board so that we can see what the vision is for this. We were so excited to get the grant from the state and now excited to have PCL on board after we vote. So I need a motion.
Okay.
But comment first, go ahead.
I move to approve, and then once we have a second, I'd like to make a quick comment.
And is there a second?
I second it.
Okay.
Dr. King alluded to it. I mean, it was woven into her presentation, but I think it bears noting that the vision for ECC was as an arts center. That is what the community wanted, and sort of, but not entirely what it got. And so this does something very special in sort of return, and of course it's where Common Ground Theater was, right? Is sometimes. And so I think it's just really exciting to be doing this, to be doing what the community has always wanted, and doing it with such commitment. So that's all.
Wonderful. Okay, we have a motion and a second. Does our student trustee have a comment or how do you vote?
I do not have a comment at the time, Board President, but my vote is aye.
Thank you. And now, Board of Trustees, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? And the motion passes unanimously. Thank you. Thank you, Vice Chancellor, for your work on this. Okay. Now let's get back into where we were. And that takes us to item 503. No, that's 601, public comment. The board is open to public comments on items that are on our agenda. I've read this before, but anyone participating remotely can email board office at sdccd.edu for direction. Remarks are limited and will be monitored by the board secretary. Unless it's an emergency, no action is taken on public comment at a board meeting, but they're referred to our chancellor, who will be who will notify the person of findings and recommendations. Before we call for public comments, we usually call on our academic senate to comment, and thank you for waiting, and we appreciate that. Maria Jose Zeladon Perez, City College. Yeah, stretch it out.
Stretch, good to see you all again. Your speech was beautiful. I asked Pablo if he taught you, speech and all that. That's what we teach, and that was amazing. So I just wanted to tell you that you're an incredible speaker. Keep doing it. And it's good to be here. Thank you also for being so patient. I know it's getting late, so I'm going to try to make it short. I do have to read a resolution. Boy, I'm taller than I thought today. That's good, the microphone. So, but I wanted to share a couple of exciting things for the Academic Senate. Our Area D is happening next Friday. So all the community colleges from our area are going to get together, and we're going to talk about resolutions that we're going to bring forward to the plenary in April. So that's going to be exciting. And we are actually highly active. Our district is going to be really active at the plenary. So we actually have two sessions. One is about the practical ways faculty and academic senates can work toward destigmatize academic probation. So we're going to actually share what you are all doing, what we are all doing with the AP. So I'm excited about that. And then the other one is strengthening academic senates, collaborative strategies for district-wide support and student success. So the four of us, academic senate presidents, are going to be presenting and sharing the things that we have been doing to really collaborate and to become one voice for the benefit of all our students at the district. So I'm excited about that. And of course, I know Richard is going to be also facilitating for one of our conferences for CE. That said, it's time to read the resolution. It's not too long, I hope, but bear with me, please. The resolution title, it's a resolution calling on the San Diego Community College District to reaffirm their commitment to the protection of freedom of free speech and academic freedom in the face of censorship around Palestinian discourse. Whereas faculty and students in a social justice-oriented campus have a responsibility to denounce human rights abuses and injustices of colonization, the San Diego Community College District affirmed in its November 6, 2003 resolution recognizing Native American Heritage Month, it is committed to building a diverse and accessible environment that fosters intellectual and social advancement for all students and employees, educating all our community members about Indigenous histories and culture, and examining and taking action to address the injustices of colonization and occupation. The resolution also affirmed that it recognizes Indigenous peoples who were the first inhabitants of this land, have and continue to be subjected to colonial structures of oppression, resulting in the death of millions of Indigenous people, land dispossession, language and culture loss, diminished cultural knowledge and authority, and has long-standing impacts that Indigenous communities face today. According to the district's logic, recognizing Indigenous people and criticizing colonial structures, which includes the current Indigenous Palestinian experience, is imperative to our district values and mission. Whereas efforts around the nation have successfully silenced students and faculty on college campuses around the nation for speaking in support of the Palestinian people in the name of anti-Semitism, despite the state of Israel not representing Judaism or Jewish people. As many scholars and credible publications, as well as organizations such as Jewish Voices for Peace have argued, anti-Zionism is not anti-Semitic. Whereas from the river to the sea, Palestine will be free, a popular rallying cry for Palestinian liberation in the context of the illegal occupation of Palestine by the Israeli state is generally understood by activists as a call for freedom for Palestinians living under occupation. Similar to the way that Black Lives Matter seeks to address the disproportionate impact of institutional racism on Black people. From the river to the sea seeks to address the impact of Israeli occupation on Palestinian people and does not imply that Jewish or Israeli individuals should not also be free to live peacefully in the region. Last whereas. Whereas faculty reserve the right to teach material that is critical of Israel's colonialist policies and any governments that engage in human rights violations. For instance, AFT passed a resolution titled calling for a bilateral ceasefire in Gaza and promoting a two-state solution and an end to the weaponization of hate, stating, "We will defend the rights of educators and their students to participate in intellectually honest discussions, to articulate and rally around their views, including the underlying conflict between Israel and Palestine. Moreover, we will not tolerate the weaponization of academic discourse to be used in political attacks on American colleges and universities, and as a pretext for attacks on efforts to increase diversity, promote equity, and advance inclusion. Our campuses must be places of dialogue for the furtherance of understanding in a pluralistic society. Teachers and students must be free to express different views on the burning issues of the day, without fear of loss of position of retaliation, and without intimidation and threats of violence. Be it resolved that the San Diego Community College District reaffirm their commitment to the protection of academic freedom and freedom of speech, as stated in BP 3900, despite calls to censor discussion around Palestine on college campuses around the nation. Be it resolved that there will be no silencing or censoring for critiquing the Israeli apartheid state and its ongoing genocide against Palestinians. Be it resolved that the San Diego Community College District reject the dangerous conflation of support for Palestine with anti-Semitism and stand against racism and human rights violations in all of its forms. Thank you.
Andrew Hoffman.
Thank you. In the interest of time, I'll be brief also, but I do want to thank Board President Bernie Reinerson for coming to Mesa College's Academic Senate the other day. Really appreciate your time. We also passed a resolution, which I would like to read. Academic Senate resolution requesting the SDCCD and Mesa College to pledge to fight anti-Semitism. Whereas past events in the district made it clear that many faculty and administrators have little knowledge about the Jewish people and the anti-Semitism they experience. And even though Jewish faculty and staff have requested inclusion of anti-Semitism education in district DEI practices, where we rightfully include education to counteract sexism, racism, homophobia, Islamophobia, etc., there has been little action by the administration. And whereas despite the Jewish people being only 2% of the US population, they experienced 9.6% of all hate crimes, with the FBI reporting a 37% increase in anti-Semitic hate crimes since 2022. And whereas the college and the district rightfully hold many events and acknowledgements celebrating diverse cultures, most significant Jewish holidays go unnoticed. Resolved, that the San Diego Mesa College Academic Senate recommend the SDCCD and the Mesa College administration commit to 1, address anti-Semitism in our diversity, equity, and inclusion educational strategies by offering programs for employees about addressing anti-Semitism specifically, as well as integrating anti-Semitism into our broader DEI approach. 2, support Jewish employees through mechanisms such as a Jewish Employee Resource Group, affinity group, or programming. We also recognize the diversity of Jews and that Jewish identity transcends religious practice, and pledge that Jewish employees are welcomed in all relevant ERGs or affinity groups. 3, ensure we have robust religious accommodation policies. We will evaluate our policies to see where we can make improvements that promote inclusion for all employees, which could include a shared holiday calendar of religious observances, a floating holiday policy, food and dietary accommodations at workplace gatherings, dedicated spaces for daily religious practices, and more. 4, use our workplace's platform on social media via press release and or messaging from company leadership to employees, as well as externally to speak out to fight hate overall. And when there is a day of cultural significance to the Jewish community, for example, Jewish American Heritage Month, Shine a Light, etc., or if there is a significant act of anti-Semitism in the United States. I believe you all were emailed a copy of this. Thank you.
Thank you. Pablo Martin.
Good evening, everybody.
Good evening.
I was hoping we'd stay on time, but ours went over. I'm a public speaking professor, and that's one of the critical aspects of my class is mind your audience. But you know, it was a great show. I hope you enjoyed it. A couple of things to report really quickly, as promised. Our accreditation visit went really well, and I'd like to note that as you've seen here, we did it with integrity. We keep it real at Miramar. Even though certain things were not easy conversations, we had them. And you know this, we've talked about some of these things before. One of those is around technology. And one of those is around our challenges providing basic needs services to our students. Left the lead of the team in tears. That and me right now, it's really hard for me to talk about. So we're looking at that, and that's good news. And I think that's the point of these things, right? We grow. One of those great growths we had is our faculty technology liaison, Lisa Munoz. I want to give her another shout out. She works so hard to ensure that faculty have the technological resources they need to provide the kind of instruction that our students need and demand. And her efforts are wonderful, and she makes a lot of those invisible needs visible. And she does so with a very small amount of reassignment. And I'm just going to say publicly here, I'm hoping we can find more reassignment for that because it's a critical job, and she needs to be released to do more. I'll just say. Also, thank you very much for your presentation to the district this morning, Chancellor Smith, around the possible changes to the CAM. We've been learning a lot about budget processes at Miramar, thanks to our Vice President of Administration, Brett Bell. He's been generous enough with his time to keep coming back, maybe for a third time too. So we're learning a lot about that. And I think knowledge is power. Instead of saying, gosh, I'm mad, I want more money, we can say, well, how does it work? How do we get more money? And that seems to be, that's where I like to operate, right? Let's sit down and have a conversation. So we're doing that. And I'm really proud of all of our faculty and our classified professionals too, who know a lot more than the faculty do about that as we work together to figure these things out. I also want to share that we've made a lot of progress and had cross-campus and cross-constituency discussions around AB 367, the Menstrual Equality for All Act. And I just want to give thanks to the folks on our Gaia work group, the leadership there, for their efforts on this. And that's all. Thank you.
Thank you. Richard Weintraub? Oh, there you are. I was looking over there. I thought maybe you left.
Thank you. Should I raise it or you've got me?
You can just grab it.
Great.
You can pull it off. There you go. Just pull the microphone off the stand.
Slide it out.
There you go.
There you go. Now you can walk around.
Thank you. I first want to say that we are so proud at San Diego College Continuing Education. Our accreditation team said we were spotless. I mean, that's incredible. Spotless. They just said nothing was anything to note. And we're just like so glowing. I just can't tell you how proud we are. So yes. I want to give a shout out to Margarita Posner. She's our accreditation and planning coordinator, accreditation committee co-chair. Margarita learned something on her own time She volunteered to learn SharePoint, and she did this because she understood that to really showcase our work, we needed a place to do it. And that was just an amazing thing that an individual said, okay, I'm going to take this on. And she did. And that was where we were able to have a gallery space online for our videos, our reports, our documents about our great work that we're doing. Eric Miller and Dr. Ingrid Greenberg volunteered countless hours. These individuals are both ESL instructors, but in their roles, they were just working for the institution. They did everything they could to make this incredible opportunity for the visiting team more incredible. How it was done was through iPads, and that would not have been possible if they had not worked tirelessly checking everything. In the middle of the visit, one of the iPads went down. The microphone went down. Eric Miller quickly ran down the hall, grabbed his own equipment, his own old Surface Pro 4 and wireless mic, and he was able to bring it back online. It's just amazing. I mean, resourcefulness of this guy. Dr. Greenberg and Dr. Spradley worked so hard to get developing what was for the first ever for us, a virtual visit, going into classrooms, providing the team a virtual visit. So they were coming in with Zoom. Dr. Spradley and Dr. Greenberg personally made conversations to make sure it would be comfortable. We considered the students so that it would be correct for the students, but to really highlight the great work of the instructors. And that great work included in the classroom as well as their Canvas courses. So I'm just so proud of that work, what they did. The 7 accreditation team members on the committee, each of them shared how astounded they were with the work of one of my colleagues, CTE Professor Bradley Dorschel. I've got to say, I love Bradley. He's on my team. He's on the Academic Senate exec team. He's our secretary. They just said he was so amazing, they all wanted to take him home. So I got to tell you, for a career technical education person to be that amazing, to be that able to just communicate, it just speaks volumes for the great work we're doing at CE, where that's the kind of people who work there. I just want to acknowledge all the faculty who opened their classrooms up, the faculty that created this work. It would not have been possible. I want to thank our campus leaders, our deans, our IT staff who just worked together to showcase to all the great murals, the signage, and narrated the whole process while they were walking. The accreditation team said that what they loved was the climate, the culture of working together. They were so impressed. They actually used the words the love and passion. And those ring true for me. Love and passion, because that's where I am. I love my job and I'm so passionate about my job. I really want students to succeed. And that's the message that they say they heard that loud and clear. And they were really impressed with how overall students felt committed to the institution. They said they were and when students spoke up, they spoke strongly of the work we're doing here. I heard that the accreditation team also was just really impressed that our district is committed to the financial alignment of our college. So I again want to thank you, Chancellor, for coming today on our meeting for the budget and talking, because when you spoke today, it was probably the first time I actually understood the budget. I know a lot of people think, oh, you should understand it, but I don't. So the campus model, the allocation model is pretty complicated. And you made it so I could actually understand what you're talking about. And I really appreciated that. And I've got to say, I really appreciate your advocacy for bringing CE in a possible 3 years to be equal funded, because that would be so wonderful for all of us. And that's my report. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Richard. Do we have any other public comment?
Yes, we have 4 people that have signed up for general public comment and 2 people that have signed up specifically for item 14.06. The people that have signed up for general public comment, we will start with Robbie Bowers. And you should be able to unmute yourself now and address the board.
Okay, I unmuted. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
All right, thank you. Good evening, trustees, and thank you for this opportunity to address you and your community. I'd like to bring into your attention that not only is March National Women's History Month, but March is also National Athletic Training Month. Our slogan this year is healthcare from head to toe. My name is Robbie Bowers, and I'm the regional director for the California Athletic Trainers Association, and for the past 34 years, the athletic trainer at Rancho Bernardo High School. In honor of this month, I'd like to recognize your 11 certified athletic trainers across your campuses and acknowledge the Board of Trustees for your longstanding commitment to scholar athlete wellness and safety. During March, athletic trainers across America are being recognized for their commitment to caring for athletes, industrial workers, performing artists, public servants, and military personnel as we keep them well and remaining active, while we're also prepared and equipped to respond to any medical crises that may occur. Some of you may remember the events surrounding the collapse of NFL player Damar Hamlin that gained so much national attention. The athletic trainers of your district have long played a vital role in the delivery of exemplary health care to your district's scholar athletes in a variety of acute and chronic situations. And in one instance, they responded to an athletic participant that collapsed due to sudden cardiac arrest. Due to their fast action and the implementation of their rehearsed emergency plan, they were able to save this man's life. As healthcare professionals, we are highly educated and dedicated to our patients and responsibilities at hand. We provide acute and chronic wound management, musculoskeletal injury assessment and rehabilitation. We direct concussion care and develop and implement emergency action plans across our work sites in athletic, industrial, and medical settings, as well as hospital and physicians' offices. These healthcare professionals are on the front line of scholar athlete safety and are committed to the physical and mental health and wellness for all students, athletes, and coaches. On behalf of the California Athletic Trainers Association, I would like to salute your athletic trainers for providing high quality health care from head to toe every day across your campuses. And please join me in applauding these frontline healthcare heroes, as well as the board, for their continued commitment. Thank you.
I'd just like to interrupt here and thank the speaker for bringing this to our attention. Athletics and our sports programs are so important to keeping our students in college and moving on to higher education. And it's interesting to hear this testimony about the role of athletic trainers in helping that. And it might be time to congratulate some of our sports teams who have moved on. I know Miramar had a great year. City College is in the hunt for basketball championships. Mesa is always doing great. But we often forget that behind the scenes to take care of our athletes, there's people like athletic trainers. And we have career training programs to train those people in our kinesiology and exercise science programs that we're committed to at all of our campuses. So I just want to thank the speaker on behalf of our colleges and our athletes for bringing this to our attention.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Our next public speaker is Daniel Villegas.
Good evening.
Hi.
My name is Daniel Villegas. I go by Chieftain. No name in the streets. I'm an artist, activist, poet, producer. I have 2 associate's degrees from Miramar College. I studied audio production and engineering. This guy's doing right here with the mic. This is what I study. Somehow I learned that there's a path to commercial music at City that I could still, because if I went to Crass or the Conservatory for Recording Arts and Studies, it's like $60,000. If I went to Studio West, it'd be $40,000. But none of those where I found that we're at Miramar and at City studying music. If I well got both of the associate's degrees, which is unprecedented. I don't think anybody has both of them from Miramar and City, and I feel like it's the equivalent of that $60,000 crash education. What I never get is enough time in the studio. All right, there's never enough lab time for students. What has been part of the problem here at Miramar and at City is that there's not a dedicated lab tech for the facilities. The professor, my professors are great. It's the first time I ever had a half Mexican professor in music, and man, I'm blessed. I'm blessed to still be studying music despite the challenges I've had to go through. I'm an unhoused student. I have 7 classes. Even with that, I have a podcast on City Times Media, and I connected the RTVF. Specifically, I'm here though, is because the Pro Tools server, which we already have, is not working properly. Whereas, like, I can access the program at the school, but not on my laptop. Which a year ago it did that. Last semester it didn't do that, and every week this semester I've complained, and they're working on it, but it doesn't work. And without enough time in the program, then how do I even study when I'm supposed to be studying? It's different from Miramar where it's all logic based. This is a different DAW. It's Pro Tools. At City, they have a lot more resources, Ableton and Reason, just so many DAWs. And well, because I understand one, I can understand them all. But to be proficient, to be a master, like I need access. I need this Pro Tools server to hopefully work. The second thing on the way to getting this, because I'm really close to getting this degree at City, I learned for over a year now, I've been blocked from a class that I'm being told that I have to take. I go to the professor who's also the chair, and he says, go to records. Why are you being blocked? And I found out why today. And it's the dumbest reason, okay? Because I have too many classes in the same group. I'm not allowed to take this class, and I have to petition to take this class. These are classes in what I'm studying. It's part of my ed plan. So like, I don't understand why I've been blocked for over a year, and now this class is not going to be offered again until the spring, so a year from now. And I'm at this space where to get 2 associate's degrees from this college, like they didn't help me. And now financial aid is helping me. And so I'm doing what I'm supposed to do as far as like their ed plans. And I just don't see how they're going to be helping me a year from now. It just doesn't make sense. And the answers I've gotten, and so I'm here to ask if you guys can help me get Music 260 open in the fall. Now, I've already been told no, and I just understand that it probably won't happen. But if I don't come and I ask, if a student doesn't come and demand that like changes be made, and I know this because I have an associate's degree from here because I demanded for a class to be open. Now, 8 or 10 people have an associate's degree in audio production engineering from Miramar. And before that, they only offered a
Your
certificate.
time is up.
Yeah, I'd also just like to say you should never use weaponizing and student together, because I'm a student and I'm part of Mecha, and like that just doesn't go together. And yeah, I'm out of time. So thank you.
Thank you.
Next up is Jerry Vanderpot.
Hello, I'm here to speak in support of the 32-hour work week for AFT classified professionals. Thank you for the opportunity to speak. My name is Jerry Vanderpot, and I'm the irrigation technician at Mesa College. I was hired as a contract classified employee in September of 2000, and I have over 23 years of experience working for the San Diego Community College District. 18 of those years have been spent working in the gardening department, 12 years at City College, and the last 6 years at Mesa. For about 5 years, I was the stockroom supervisor at City College. I bring this up to inform you that I'm well aware of the pressures that supervisors and managers are under to get work assignments done. There are many studies showing fewer hours per week does not lead to a decrease in production. In fact, a study by the Stanford School of Medicine showed that employees who work fewer hours are more productive than their peers with longer schedules. Additionally, workers with shorter work weeks report feeling better rested mentally and physically. CalSense is the computerized irrigation system that we use at Mesa. Once a month, I meet with our CalSense rep, Eric. A little over a year ago, Eric went to a 4-day work week. He told me it has made a world of difference to his attitude towards and his motivation to work. Additionally, Eric's wife works 5 days a week, which allows him to spend an entire day alone with their young daughter. The recent decision by the district in conjunction with AFT to raise the minimum wage for contract employees to $30.53 an hour shows that the district is an advocate for working families. Even though I may not have benefited from this somewhat controversial decision, it is one that I fully support. Going to a 32-hour work week is another big decision, but one that will show all classified professionals that the district is a continuing advocate for working people. Facilities needs coverage when students and staff are on campus. When I started with the district, there were classes scheduled on Saturdays. To ensure we had coverage, there was a Tuesday through Saturday shift. Furthermore, the proposal for a 32-hour work week does not necessarily mean a 4-day work week. 4 days at 7 hours and 1 day of 4 hours would also allow for facilities to have employees on campus for 5 days a week. Finally, I'd like to note that I'm quickly approaching the retirement eligible age for CalPERS, a little faster than I. Because of the physicality of my job, it is something that I'm considering. So if we do go to a 32-hour work week, I may not benefit for long or at all for the change. I tell you this to show that I'm not here solely for my self-serving reasons. I am here for posterity's sake, so the district can continue to attract and retain talented employees. In summary, I want to thank the board for considering a 32-hour work week at San Diego Community College District. Thank you.
Our next speaker is Neil Kobrick.
Good evening. I initially started this with good afternoon. I thought I might have to change it to good morning. I appear before you today to speak in support of the proposal to transition our AFT classified professionals to a 32-hour work week. During the first few days of the pandemic low those 4 short years ago, we all wondered if we, as institutions and as a district, were up to the challenge of adapting to a mode of service with which many of us had little to no experience. We proved time and time again that we were not only up to the challenge, but well suited to address it in an innovative and effective way. I encourage us to see this proposal for a 32-hour week in a similar fashion. How so, you might say? I see it thusly. Classified professionals across the district at all levels, in all the many roles they fulfill, serve our students, our colleagues, and our communities day in and day out in meaningful and increasingly efficient and effective ways, using technology and virtual services, along with good old-fashioned human interest, to address the needs that arise. Whether that is done in 40 hours at a desk or 32 hours is not the point. We need to consider that the quality and effectiveness of our work product is measured most clearly not by how many hours a day a campus is open or an office is staffed, but by how many students are impacted, whether they can receive the things they need in a timely fashion, and what their experience is overall. The idea that effective service only happens between the hours of 7 a.m. and 7 p.m. is a canard. Rather, the essential question is whether we are adapting, like we did during the pandemic, to meet the needs of individuals when and how they need them addressed, instead of clinging strictly to a business model, perhaps better suited to corporate life than education. I believe that the flexibility of a 32-hour work week provides opportunities for the adaptations to naturally arise, further boosting the classified professional workplace experience through access to consistent and necessary professional development can only benefit all of us across the district. Just today, I returned from serving as a panelist at the CSSO conference on behalf of IEPI, the Institutional Effectiveness Partnership Initiative, which I've proudly been a part of since its inception. At that panel, one attendee asked about the time commitment. and whether it was worthwhile given that commitment and where the time could be found. It makes me think, if our folks are able to know in advance that they have access to consistent, regular opportunities and time for professional development by virtue of a guarantee built into their work week, that would be a feather in our particular cap as a district, and it would produce a team of engaged and influential classified professionals through the gift of not only education, but the gift of the time to pursue it. I urge the board and the district to support this proposal, as it is, after all, a logical extension of our adaptable, innovative nature. Thank you.
That concludes the public commenters on non-agenda items. Again, there are 2 public commenters on item 14.06.
Okay, so there are no other public comment. I'm going to ask my colleagues to allow me to give a gift of probably 45 minutes to the nomination of Esther Anthony Thomas as our classified employee of the year award by moving that item up to our next item. So I think that would be a nice thing to do if there's no objections from members of the board. We'll take that item next. It's item 1406. Chancellor?
Yeah, before we introduce the item, I know we have 2 requests for public comment. I would like to ask if Richard and Neil would be okay with President King first presenting the item, and then we can hear your public comment. Thank you. So I don't want to steal any of the thunder from Dr. King, and so I'll just invite Dr. King to come and explain why we are nominating and who we are nominating for this prestigious award.
Thank you so much, Chancellor Smith. We're so excited at San Diego College of Continuing Education to honor our very own Dr. Esther Anthony Thomas. Every 4 years, this award comes to our college, and it rotates to the other credit colleges. And one of the things that I wanted to share is when you look at the 2024 Classified Employee of the Year Award, what it says this award recognizes and celebrates classified professionals throughout the California community college system that exemplifies Vision 2030 and a demonstrated commitment to equitable student outcomes in their local community. That is absolutely Dr. Esther Anthony Thomas. I want to share with you all, we did something different this year at SDCCE. This year, we created a process where our constituents, anyone in the college, had the opportunity to nominate someone for this award. Usually, it would be the executive leadership team who would make the selection. And Dr. Anthony Thomas was selected by her peers, by Zuri Williams, and it came to the executive president's cabinet, and we unanimously agreed. If you have had the opportunity to meet Dr. Thomas, Anthony Thomas, and I'm just going to say Esther, because all of our students call her that. When you have the opportunity to meet Esther, she is the epitome of what the accreditation team said, that our college and the culture and the climate, it is love and passion. And it is Esther. She has served our college for over 25 years, served our district for over 25 years, and she works at the campus that is the busiest campus, which is our Mid-City campus. Esther is someone who treats everyone with dignity and respect. Our students love her. This campus is the campus that stays open Monday through Thursday until 7 p.m. And Esther always says it's not enough time. I don't want to close my window because there's always someone there who needs me. And she always tells us that. In addition to her service to the students, she also serves as the vice president of the Classified Senate. And she shows up to every meeting with poise, with collaboration, collegiality. And she is a big part of why there's a strong partnership with the Classified Senate, in addition to the support we have from the president. One of the things that was wrote about Esther, and I gotta say, it is absolutely true. It was wrote in her nomination letter. It says she shows up, and when she shows up, regardless of what she is going through personally, she leaves it at the door and serves, consistently giving the best of herself. She maintains poise and composure under stress and is an attentive listener, offering patience even when faced with the pressure of long lines of students waiting to be served. She offers compassion and grace while balancing time management so students are seen and heard, not just felt, but the reality of being seen and heard. And so I want to say on behalf of San Diego College of Continuing Education, we are so thankful that we have had the opportunity to be blessed by you and for the love and patience and compassion that you show our students. We know that our students at every single campus, even though you work at one campus, all of our students know who you are because you make it a point to do that. And so thank you for your storytelling. Thank you for going to Ghana on behalf of the college and bringing back all the rich culture and the love that you brought back to our college last year. And just thank you for being such a beautiful partner and for the many more years of service that we will receive from you. Thank you. Can you open it up to? And so you want to open up to the other two? Well, there's two more people who would love to say something to you, but I don't know if we want to. Can we
Yeah,
go ahead?
let's go ahead.
So let's go ahead and have two more individuals. Neil would love to speak. So we talked about this at Executive Governance Council, and Neil flew all the way back here from San Francisco, and he was determined to be here so that he could. You flew, you didn't walk. And after that, we're going to hear from Richard Weinroth, who on the behalf of the Academic Senate really wanted to speak just to the testament of Esther and all of her hard work. So I'll turn it over to Neil and then we'll congratulate you and let you come up.
So these are my musings at 37,000 feet that I wrote on my cell phone here. Today, I am so proud to stand alongside my colleagues and leaders from the San Diego College of Continuing Education to honor our nominee for the district and indeed statewide Classified Professional Employee of the Year, Dr. Esther Anthony Thomas. As we all know too well, I have served as Classified Senate President since dinosaurs ruled the earth. Prior to the invention of the wheel and movable type, through the Pax Romana and the fall of the empire, and before Roberts had yet to envision his first rule of order. Through the majority of that time, Esther has served by my side as our vice president, the good cop to my bad, the one who keeps me from diving off a cliff into a sea of mixed metaphor. See what happens when I write by myself? Her service to the Senate, to the college, to the students, and the community entire is beyond measure. I have watched as she deftly guides the wide-eyed and uncertain amongst our prospective students with kindness and a listening ear. She provides mentorship, perspective, history, advocacy, and the gift of dignity in equal measure to all who seek it. She is a scholar who has extended her reach beyond our four walls into spaces and places that will impact the ongoing success of students throughout the San Diego community, long past this time and space. Her faith, her joy for life and learning, her artistic spirit and creativity, and the love she embodies in all things are but a few facets of the jewel of our Senate and our college. She has been my right hand and my salvation in many a time of turbulence, professionally and personally, which is a debt that I can only hope to repay with these remarks as a very, very tiny down payment on a lifetime of gratitude for her presence and moreover, for her friendship. Congratulations to my friend, the incomparable Dr. Esther Anthony Thomas, for this recognition. I don't do this all.
I will be very brief because I know the evening is going, but the Senate wants you to know we love you. If there's nothing else I can say, the Academic Senate loves you. Dr. Esther Anthony Thomas, we love you. You are just so amazing. You treat everyone like they are the only one. Every person who speaks to Esther is speaking directly. We have a personal relationship with this woman that we all feel we're her best friend. I mean, that's just who she is. She's my best friend. She's your best friend. We all feel this is my best friend. You can't have that unless someone has a heart that is so real. This woman's heart is real. We love you. Thank you. Thank you.
Are we going to let Esther say a few words?
If you would like to.
Yeah,
Okay,
you can get back at him, Esther.
okay. You know, words are amazing, and there's so many things that you can say in moments like this, but it's just very humbling. And so to be able to be felt, to be able to embrace the belonging that I want to give to everyone, it is an amazing moment. It's late. My ankles hurt. No, they don't really hurt, but I just thought it would be funny to say. I'm so happy to just say that I'm standing on the shoulders of those that did too. And so it feels unbelievable to be awarded such a title, but I'm standing on behalf of every classified employee, everyone in front of students, behind locked cupboards and closed doors, those that work to bring this moment forward. So on behalf of all of the classified professionals, this is just quite an honor, and I appreciate you all. You all know I love you, right? Deep down in my heart, I love you. Y'all know we go back like way back like click clacks. Y'all know what that means. But no, I just appreciate the opportunity to be here. Thank you all, and thank you all.
Thank you so much. Now we'll get back into our agenda.
We need the board to take action to.
Oh, we need to
the
vote.
item
So is there a
that we
motion?
submit.
I move to approve, and I think she said that your ankles were hurting. I was just gonna say that my contact lenses are getting dry, but I move to approve, the
Yeah.
motion.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in, our student trustee, how do you vote?
My vote is aye.
And the board, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? It is unanimous. Congratulations. One more round of applause. The hour is getting late, so I'm going to look for ways to move the meeting along. Is there anything to report on Section 7 collective bargaining?
There's not.
And Section 8 is typically where we do reports. I will forego my report tonight as a trustee. The chancellor can give us an update on statewide and legislative issues unless you may want to pass on that.
Let me just highlight
some highlights.
Two things very quickly. The legislative analysts, so our focus right now is the budget. And in late February, the legislative analysts office put out a detailed report on community college funding. The report is concerning on a number of ways. Let me just highlight this without going into the technical details. The report completely fails to understand the role that community colleges play and who we serve. And as it proposes cutting funding, ignores that there's already significant disparities. A UC student gets twice as much funding as a community college student on a per student basis. And we are so much more diverse than those systems. And so we will continue the advocacy and continue to make sure that is understood. I'll have an update on a number of assembly bills and Senate bills that we're supporting at our next meeting.
Right. And you could share with those with us by email or your reports that you give us weekly. Report of the trustees. We do want to hear from our student trustee who you gave an amazing update. We want to thank you for that. Great job, Sejal. But is there anything else you'd like to report?
Of course. So for the three other student trustees that aren't here, of course, I'd love to speak for them. Thank you, Board President. For San Diego City College, the A2 Men Conference took place in Los Angeles, which was in place to connect male students of African American heritage with mentors and creating a welcoming space for networking. Student trustee Diego actually attended this in Los Angeles. For San Diego Mesa College, they're holding a social powwow that will take place tomorrow from 8 a.m. or March 16th, 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. And all campuses are welcome to attend. This is to celebrate their Native American demographic. They also had a Know Your Rights event, which was held on March 12th, 2024 from 11:15 a.m. to 12:45 p.m., where a presentation on civil liberties was conducted by the San Diego County Public Defender's Office. For Miramar College, we will be having a Women in Business Expo taking place with local female-owned businesses coming to Miramar College on March 20th. On March 8th, ASG applications for general elections opened up, and we will be seeing results in the first week of April. We also championed a menstrual health survey and educational campaign work group to fully support Dr. Carmen Carrasquillo's efforts for menstrual equity on the faculty side. I just want to give a quick shout out to Black Student Union Club Representative Neil Ruiz, who is championing the ASG podcast with the support of AS President Pablo. Finally, for San Diego College of Continuing Education for Women's History Month, they kicked off celebrating International Women's Day on March 8th. And ASG members participated in the college accreditation meeting on March 12th. And thank you. That concludes my report.
Great. And please share with the board when this podcast is available, because I listen to lots of podcasts, so that'll go on my list. So share that with us. Are there any of my fellow trustees who want to give a report? Good. Thank you. Does the chancellor want to give a report?
Two things that I want to highlight. We had the item 1501 earlier on the community benefits agreement. There's been a lot of discussion in recent meetings about our efforts towards a bond. I just want to highlight and thank Vice Chancellor Peterson and the group of folks that have done the lion's share of the work on this. Lance LaRoe, our district architect, Steve Dow, Molly Solomon, Ryan Murphy, among others, who have done the majority of the work to bring all of these items to consolidate the facilities plans at each of the colleges. They are doing the work that's going to make it possible for us to go out and advocate for this bond. And so I just want to publicly thank them. Also, I had a chance to join the Police Advisory Committee last week. The committee did not have a quorum of members, so no official actions were taken. The subcommittee that they have formed to review research on the impact and deployment of tasers continues to do their work. I'm looking forward to receiving their report and recommendation. We also discussed complaint procedures and ways we can ensure students that have a concern about an interaction with the district police department have an avenue to express that concern without having to go back and re-engage with the department. And this is a universal concern for the district. We want to make sure that anyone who has a concern with any aspect of our operations has a safe and confidential avenue to raise their concerns without interacting with the people about whom the concerns are directed. And so I'm happy to report to the board, we have an online system in place for students and employees. It continues to be implemented in full, but the basic functionality is there and working now. That's monitored by People and Culture and Educational Services. And the full implementation will be completed likely before the end of this calendar year. And that ends my report.
Great, thank you. Now back to our regular scheduled programming, item 901. Chancellor.
This is the second reading of a board policy to implement how we will use our alternative flagpole. We've talked about it in detail, so I'll spare all the comment and just say that we're excited to have the board put this into action and to bring it to you in May.
Student trustee comment, or how do you vote?
My vote is aye.
And, wait, I need a motion.
My motion to approve.
Second.
I'm sorry, I always forget the motion, and you were so good at it, Maria, and I'll learn someday. Okay, student trustee, how do you vote?
My vote is aye.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The motion carries unanimously. Okay, now we're on to item 1001 and 1002, which are the same topic, and we can take together with one motion.
Yeah, I'd recommend the board do that. We said a lot about the nursing baccalaureate pilot bill, so I don't think we need to say anything more than we strongly want to advocate for this and would appreciate the board's support to these resolutions.
Great. Is there a motion?
Move to approve.
And a second. In a second. We have a motion and a second. Student trustee, or any comment or your vote?
No comment. My vote is aye.
Okay, the board, all in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? And we've approved both item 1001 and 1002 with that. Now, items that we pulled from our consent calendar. The first one is item 1307.
I do want to slow down and take a minute for this one because it's a very exciting pilot program. The higher up pilot would provide stipends to formerly incarcerated students, CalWORKs recipients, and former foster youth that addresses the opportunity costs of going to college. I'll stop there and invite Vice Chancellor Topham to explain what this program is and how our funds will be used.
Okay, so good evening, everyone. I'll try to keep this brief, but this, as Chancellor Smith commented, it is a very exciting program. San Diego Community College District was one of 10 districts to be selected for this 5-year pilot program. And it will help students, as he mentioned, are formerly incarcerated CalWORKs recipients and former foster youth, and providing them additional monies and a stipend to attend school. As we all know, most of these students do qualify for the California Promise Program, but unfortunately, that's not sufficient funds to cover their ability. It's not the total cost of education. So with this, they will be receiving minimum wage of the California minimum wage of $16 per hour, and it is rated at accordance to how many units they are registered. So if they're a full-time student, they will receive more money, and if they are lesser than that, it will be rated accordingly. The way San Diego Community College District was chosen to do this, it has to do with the number of percentage of formerly incarcerated students, CalWORK students, and former foster youth, and also the percentage of students completing transfer level math and English. They also, another criteria was that the colleges were prioritized, or the districts, with demonstrated capacity for ensuring timely student completion and thereby maximizing the ability to complete a program. So we're very excited to be launching this. Staff members at each one of the 3 colleges have been identified, and we in Educational Services will be working very closely to deploy the program in the next year. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any comments or questions? Do we have a motion?
I motion to approve. Second.
We have a motion and a second. Student trustee, any comment or your vote?
My vote is aye.
Members of the board, all in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Thank you, Dr. Topham. Okay,
Note that trustee Milgram was not present at that vote.
Thank you.
And then when he returns to the room, we can give him the option to register his vote on this item.
Okay, thank you. Our last item is item 1601, the employee climate survey.
This highlights why we often do not have informational items during campus meetings. But this is very important. And I'm going to ask Dr. Fishstall to make sure that we stick to the highlights. We'll have a lot of opportunity to go in depth on this report in other spaces, but it was important to us to do this now because the findings of our employee climate survey show that there is work to be done. There are some trends that we want to make sure the board is aware of over the last few years that show declining numbers in key areas. And so I wanted to share this with the board at a high level now so that we can go into in-depth conversations with the board subcommittee and district governance council and throughout our district. I want to just emphasize for everyone how important this is to us and how urgent it is that we're responding to it. Also, as we introduce this, you're going to get to hear from 2 of our folks in the research department, Natalia and Jamie, who've done tremendous work in this area. And just want to highlight, I've been working with Natalia and Jamie since really I first arrived in the district. And when you work with data, it's easy to lose sight of the fact that there are human beings with real experiences behind those numbers. And Jamie in particular, every time we engage on this, they demonstrate clearly that understanding and bring the humanity to it. So I really appreciate the approach that we have in our district. With that, Dr. Fishstall.
Well, thank you, Chancellor, because now I have nothing I need to say. So you just saved 20 minutes. As the Chancellor said, we will try to be brief, but this is something that would typically take probably an hour. So we want to make sure that there's thoughtfulness in there as well. And I'll just state, starting this meeting with the Miramar presentation, I was struck when I heard Wes speak about what people remember is their feeling, how they felt. And this is what this survey is all about. So you gave a great introduction to my fabulous colleagues who are going to come up and tell that story. And then I will come back and talk about some of what we will be doing in terms of next steps. Thank you.
Thank you, Vice Chancellor Fischel. Buenas noches. It is my honor to be here. Campus climate is one of the more important topics in my life. So why this survey is important? To truly embrace our commitment to diversity, equity, inclusion, access, and anti-racism, it's important and critical that we cultivate an environment with these values and ingraining with the core of who we are. So it's crucial for us to be addressing if the district is a welcoming environment, if people feel that they belong, if people feel comfortable there. So because we have to rush, I'm just gonna go through some highlights. Sorry. We'll move. Okay, so we approach our study with a historical view. We have 4 measurements, and here you see the years before and after pandemic. And these snapshots really allow us to see insights and particular patterns that we see. This is a comprehensive review, and we added both open-ended and closed questions to be able to see what's behind the numbers. Jamie will share with you the qualitative aspects of the open questions, and we have a total responses, and you can see it there. So here are some of the demographics of our respondents, very diverse, including all type of ethnicities, and we included the gender identity this year. We also have about 10% of our respondents were identified to belong to LGBTQ communities. And exploring the employment types, we have respondents from all of type of classifications, as well as people that have been with the district for a while. Almost 0.5% of the respondents have been with the district 11 or more years. So what the climate does? Where are we looking here? So the campus climate is looking at perceptions, also the experiences, and also the expectations that people have related to the environment and where are the interactions within the environment. Each individual is unique, but not everybody might feel the same. Some people might feel that they don't belong. Some people might feel that they don't. You heard the speakers earlier, that's the whole point, they feel they belong. Having set the stage of what we see is kind of the demographic and some of the importance of the survey, we will go into the results. Please let me tell you that even though we brought recommendations in the report, today we will not bring those forwards as we want to gather more insights in the campuses. And we also want to connect with the different institutions and have some presentations there. Vice Chancellor Fisher will tell you about next steps as well. So here we see 7 themes. These are emerging from the data: institutional support and sense of belonging, cultural responsiveness. We have a couple of discrimination buckets there and also feelings of exclusions. And these are connected based in the intersections of certain of the attributes and in individual attributes. So let's look into how they rank with each other, within each other. Here you see the same themes, but they are organized from least favorable to most favorable. And as you can see here, the scale is from 1 to 5. Higher level will be more favorable. And we see here the institutional support and sense of belonging is the aspect that is in the lower scale. And then we see exclusion of biological sex on the higher. Keep in mind that these might not represent the perceptions of all employees, and Jamie will give you more insights about some sense of discrimination that we find through the qualitative data. The next several slides are going to show you each team, and we will show you district-wide, and then we'll see by colleges. And then keep in mind, we're just scratching the surface today. The idea is to come back later with more information for you. So here we see as institutional employee and sense of belonging, the 4 years of measurement. And as you can see here, year 2022 has the lowest ranking here. The decline highlights a consistent patterns that we see in potential aspects of problem in this area. And in here, we see 4 different, the 4 different institutions, and we also have the district office and district-wide as well. Remember, the perceptions that are favorable are trending up, and the unfavorable will be trending down. Cultural responsiveness, we see here again the years, it remains very flat, but then you can see here the appreciation of how they vary. There are variations, especially in the perceptions of the district's office regarding this aspect. we have this discrimination. This is the less favorable of the discrimination, and we see also some favorable perceptions, but over here you see some variations per institution. And we also have that discrimination that when we witness others talking about potential aspects, and we see some trends that are going upwards, and that's positive for sure. Regarding sexual orientation, gender, we see favorable perceptions, and when you see it by institution, you do see some patterns there that are variation between years. So that's why we are only scratching the surface. There's much more. We have a lot of demographic data that this can be disaggregated by. Again, another type of discrimination here, and we see your patterns and variations here, and some trends going up pre-pandemic and post-pandemic. This particular aspect, we only explore in the last two measurements, and it looks to be going well. However, when you see the trends zoom in, you see some declines there in the last year after pandemic. So here's an example for our dashboard. We develop a dashboard for each one of the institutions, and we also have district-wide dashboard as well as district office dashboard. And the possibility to explore through demographics is allowable in this type of dashboards. So in year 2022, and looking to explore effects on transitions pre-pandemic, Jamie and I discussed this survey with the Vice Chancellor of People Technology at that time, and we decided to include some open-ended questions. It's my honor to now call to the floor to Jamie. They were very in this data, so they will be providing some insights. Jamie.
Thank you, Director Alarcón. Good evening, everyone. At risk of sounding redundant, I'm going to keep this brief. I cannot do justice to the nuance and complex issues and experiences that our community brought forward in this survey, but it's still really critical that we discuss the qualitative results. However, briefly, because these responses can elucidate issues that are otherwise obscured when we look at averages and quantitative data. All right, so we asked 3 questions. The first we asked was about positive aspects of climate from our community. Employees noted positive views of our DEIA efforts and support services, particularly those for students. And as was noted earlier in the survey results, there was definitely positive perception around policies, academic programming, et cetera. All right, zooming in a little bit, a quick example of that's not representative of all the comments is that we support diversity very well. They appreciated the focus on workplace and educational equity, and also shouted out some critical support offices such as DSPS. All right. We also asked about areas where we can improve. And again, issues related to DEIA, exclusion, discrimination, burnout, untenable workloads, inequitable workplace dynamics, and inequitable applications of policies came to the fore. Some employees also feel unable to express themselves on campus. All right, zooming in here. Responses here refer to experiences related to sexism, racism, homophobia, transphobia, and ageism in the workplace, as well as issues such as understaffing, leading to low morale and burnout. The comments here also remind us that our community is not monolithic. There are folks who are not on board with DEIA efforts. We need to reckon with that and recognize that and engage with that truth as a district. Further, more comments showed that there was a deep need for our community to have their intersectional experiences valued, to be seen as more than just singular boxes of identities. Other comments also reflected that we need structural solutions for structural problems. And that while representation and leadership is very critical, it does not guarantee a better climate for all folks on the ground. All right, lastly, we asked about other experiences that they wanted to share. And folks really just reiterated their kudos and critiques, the issues they face, and their lack of perceived safety to engage on campus. And here comments discuss inequitable policy applications, feeling discriminated against, for example, as an English ESL employee, lack of clear accountability related to EDIA initiatives. One quote I'd like to highlight is, "Equity is everyone's responsibility, therefore it's no one's responsibility." And so this feeling that they need more support. So overall, what I hope everyone can take away from this analysis is that our community requires support, space to engage and learn, celebrate our successes, and for their untenable workload and inequities in their environments to be taken seriously and addressed. Thank you for your time. I'm now passing it back to Dr. Fishthal to bring us home with next steps.
Thank you both for all of your intense and committed and passionate work in this area. You can see, especially with the responses from our employees, that we need to take a deeper dive and we need to start asking more questions. And that's why we didn't go through and really talk about recommendations, but what are the next steps? Because some of those deep dives have already started to take place. For example, in the past, what was it, 2 years ago, Jamie, you presented focus groups on LGBTQ plus preliminary results. We're going to have a comprehensive report in the fall on LGBTQ plus employee. We've already presented this to DGC, and it was just the start, similar to here, where we're going to engage in greater conversation. In the next few months, we'll be taking the college-specific data to the colleges and having the college-specific conversations. I think the first one starts next week at City College. We are looking at developing a new survey, a new instrument, and looking at deep dives with focus groups and looking at an outside vendor to do that work. As we know, with the delicacies when we're talking about climate and people's feelings, that often it's better to go outside and have outside folks coming in and having those conversations. So you can see there's going to be lots of discussion around this. And as we've heard from the chancellor, we do want to start asking questions differently, so that we can really start ensuring that we've got plans for improvement. So you will be hearing much more about this in the future. Chancellor?
Yeah, thank you, Vice Chancellor Fishthal. So you could see even that high-level brief presentation. There are way too many categories where 2014 is a straight line down to 2022. It's important to me that we get started right away. I didn't want to go out and start doing that work before we had shared this with the board. We'll follow up with the accreditation subcommittee with a much more in-depth presentation, and then start to bring back recommendations as we go out and engage with what we need to do to address this. To me, it's incredibly urgent that we be responsive to this now and not say we'll come back in the fall and start to work on this.
And just one more comment, as always, you have both the survey, the reports, as well as the dashboards to start making deeper dives as well.
Thank you very much. Comments from Maria first?
One of the things that strikes me is that people who feel like they're not safe to speak up, how do we work around that so that we know what exactly they have to say? And like some of these categories together, like workload categories are mixed in with issues of discrimination in other ways. And so obviously you've got a lot of sorting out to do to try to get to exactly who needs what in order to feel a part of our institution.
Absolutely. We have to disaggregate it and then do the deeper dive on each of those areas.
But if you can't identify individuals, it's going to be hard to know what they were thinking. So, yeah.
Trustee Milgram?
Incredibly unfortunate that we don't have time to have a robust discussion about this. I have dozens of questions. And so I want to suggest that we have a workshop coming up in April. Is there any way that we can devote an hour to this? Because the fact that we've only devoted 15 minutes to it and people,
I'd like to recommend that we do it at the board retreat over the summer. We'll have a lot more information to bring at that point, given what we do the rest of the spring. And in April, we'll be doing a deep dive on student basic needs and the HOPE survey. And there is so much to talk about there around student basic needs that I think it would shortchange that subject to try to put this in. And so I think if we can do that at the retreat, we'd have that opportunity.
And just one more comment. When I started here in 2018, there wasn't a dearth of data on the LGBTQ plus community. There was none. And so I just want to thank everybody, Michelle, Jamie, that because I know that having representation in our research department makes a big difference, not only in gaining the data, but actually having the perspective to understand it. So my deepest and sincerest thanks.
Thank you. Any other comments? Great. This is an informational report. So the board thanks you, and we look forward to follow-up information and follow up on addressing what we learned. So thank you very much. Seeing no other items on the agenda, I do have a comment to make. We received the sad news that 2 retired staff members in the board office recently passed away. Shirley Strong, who served as the board recording secretary and was an employee of this district for more than 20 years, passed away in February. Kathy Ness, who served as the docket specialist in the board office for many years, passed away yesterday after battling an illness. So I would like to adjourn our board meeting today in their memory and ask our board office to communicate with their families that we adjourn the board meeting in their memory. So with that, this meeting is adjourned.